Yeah, it was undoubtedly that way. When I spoke to Stephen Trigg, Mark Lejudice, they were adamant that they wanted to go about it the right way, drafting, build a learning environment, and more so, which our club needs to be defined by, is have a sense of belonging. We let the dads come to training the other day, some of the past greats in. We made the documentary The Journey because we wanted our members to belong. So that's where we've been this year, and that's where we're going to continue to head.
Some terrific insights from Brendan Bolton, the new coach of Carlton. That was him on the couch last Monday night. And certainly last week their performance was much improved against the West Coast Eagles. For a moment or two they even looked as if they might be able to get the job done, but it wasn't to be. They're looking to carry that form on this afternoon at the SCG as they take on the Sydney Swans. It obviously won't be easy. We're just over 2 minutes away from the bounce of the ball. We've seen a taste of some of their youngsters. Jacob Wiedering, could he be the man to go back and play on Buddy Franklin? He was sent forward last week when he was injured and took some good marks and was able to get amongst the goal kickers, which was great to see. Levi Casbolt returns to give them a bit more strength up forward. Keep an eye on Blaine Boakhurst. Obviously, he was an early pick a couple of years ago and has struggled to make his way, but he's been in excellent form in the VFL. He's forced his way back into the Carlton team this afternoon. So it'll be interesting to see where they all play and who plays on Buddy. Sam Rowe's actually been in excellent defensive form. So whether it's he, Plowman or Wiedering who gets the job on Buddy Franklin, certainly Brendan Bolton has talked about, it could well be Wiedering. Now this team, the Sydney Swans, we know all about the heartbreaking loss last week. They've certainly been too good for Carlton in recent times. They haven't lost to them since 2011 and they beat up on them in round 2 this year when Buddy and Kurt Tippett both kicked 4 goals apiece and Tom Mitchell was able to have 34 disposals. So Sydney, quite rightfully, are the favourites for this afternoon's game. As we have a look at the Swans lineup, and a lot of changes for Sydney. Cunningham's back. Xavier Richards comes in. Also, we see Foote able to come in for his opportunity. Heaney is also back and he's had a rest, and we're going to see whether he, with that rest, can come back and give them something extra up forward. Teddy Richards out of the side, McGlynn out of the side, McVeigh and Jones also out of the Sydney team this afternoon. So we're looking forward to seeing what the Swans can produce, and it looks like Kieran Jack against Kate Simpson as far as the toss of the coin goes this afternoon, and looking forward to seeing how Kate Simpson goes running out of defence. The way the Blues backline worked last week was just superb against the West Coast Eagles. They were able to hold on, so we're looking forward to seeing what the Blues can produce, particularly in the early stages of this game, and we're ready for the opening bounce on a sunny day at the SCG. Let's take you to your commentators.
Dalglish and Curtis Du Bois. So on a Saturday afternoon, Sydney, who've won their last 6 against the Blues, try and get some momentum back. It's such an epic battle inside the top 8. They cannot afford to drop this game. The ball towards Buckley. Towers gave it up. Doherty had his hands on it. Just locked up on half forward and called holding the ball. So against Jack.
Kieran.
Didn't make an attempt, and Gibbs with a free kick.
This is what we've seen from Carlton. They've been very slow with the ball movement the last few weeks, Tim. Just they're really trying to maintain possession the whole time.
That's Gibbs' view down the ground, looking for Cruiser. The back of the pack, Curnow gathers. It's a bouncing ball inside 50. So interesting here, Rampy got it across from Mills and then gives it up to Armfield, who gives it to Wright. Has a shot, but just couldn't bring it around enough. First score of the afternoon for the Blues.
And Jude, you know the wind here well. It is very blustery, and we've already seen a couple of in this game, in the early part of this game, where the ball's just carried just that little bit extra. Is it going to favour the right or left of screen?
Well, it's very blustery down at ground level. So, to be honest, you just really need to just concentrate and just keep it a little bit lower in these conditions.
Cunningham, one of 4 changes for the Sydney Swans side. The ball didn't appear to be touched, but he come outside of the square, so it's all okay. Heaney getting high. Another of the changes. Naismith in just his 4th game, rucking with Cruiser. Got first hands on the footy. Gibbs around the pack again. Cruiser went in and got it, and then a little toe poke towards half forward. Started well here, the Blues. Kennedy trips over him. It'll come up again.
Grundy's got the matchup on Levi Casbolt, and it leaves Rampy on the young Charlie Curnow back in the goal square.
Round 3 last time they played, it was a big win for the Sydney Swans. Buddy was busy that day. Goalless last week, and that's holding the ball in there.
Sydney.
So against Curnow,
Hold, Ed.
Towers with the free.
Thanks, Dennis. Hold.
Down the line to Parker. We mentioned, Jude, how good he's been. An amazing month. And against Hawthorn 9 days ago, 35 disposals, 19 of them contested possessions, and 14 clearances. He's a good player, as is this young man, Papley.
He's been fantastic, Luke Parker, and certainly Papley's crumbing work since he's come into the side this year has been elite. He's just been able to crumb very, very clean and explosive, but they love their front half pressure from that young man.
Swans without the 3 oldest players on their list today. 700 games worth of experience. Ted Richards, Jared McVeigh and Ben McGlynn. And forward they come again. Hanbury's ball, they didn't really look. Just getting back, taking a good mark defensively. The Swans in trouble, though White did well to get out of it. It was Plowman's ball. It was not the best disposal. Rose made it okay. Now they've given the ball away. Simpson, hands on the footy. Smith's got him just outside 50. And this time, no whistle will come up.
That is classic Sydney Swans forward pressure play, isn't it?
Yeah, as soon as they turned the footy over, they looked to really stop it right there and then just really get on top of it and close the game down.
Cruiser to Cripps, that was nice work. It was in Buckley's hands. Now Heaney.
And that's going to put some real pressure on this Carlton defence today. Their execution of skills by hand and by foot.
Cruiser has started this game in good fashion. He's had his hands on the ball a lot. Ball towards half forward. Casbolt, but well read by Rampy. Such a good defender now. His kick not terrific. Simpson got a hand in there. Here's Doherty. Wrapped up at the back by Richards, and we'll have the ball up again just inside the square. So not a bad start by the Blues, just feeling their way through it. 14 disposals. The Swans with 10. Parker lost it to Gibbs. Graham. Cruiser again following up. Held onto the football a long time, trying to find Wright. Curnow instead. Ball just rolling towards Graham. It wasn't the best disposal coming forward from Doherty, and just over the line. So, Welshie, not a bad start from the Blues.
No, they've got in the contested footy. That's what they needed to do up here at the SCGs. Get in there early, like Jude said before. The wind is playing a little bit of havoc down here, certainly favouring the Blues end, but hasn't reaped the rewards for the Blues.
Cripps with his hands on the footy, the clearance king, 12 in each of his last 2 matches, and the fastest player on record to 250 clearances, as we saw. 38 games. He is a wonderful young footballer. Buckley. Cruiser, he's getting his hands on the football a lot. Hanbury. Parker. Back to Hanbury. Ball towards the wing, and Buddy Franklin made a contest. He got away from Rowe, and they're still in here. Handball comes flying forward, but no one there. White gathers. Here's Simpson. And the ball again to vacant territory. So the Blues just breaking down as they take the ball towards half forward. Well done by Mills. Here's Aaliyah. Short kick into the middle of the ground. Well played.
50.
And 50. Richards with a chance to return to the big time with a goal.
It's been really positive for him. Obviously, a confidence player, Xavier Richards, but he's been kicking the ball very well in the reserves. As Tim mentioned, kicked 8 last week. He's kicked about 20 goals in the last 4 or 5 games, so he's certainly in good form and good goal-kicking form. He'd love to get one on the board early. He's just got to contend with the wind here at the SCG.
Well, he's never kicked a goal in senior football, just his 3rd senior game today since his debut in 2013. He's had to wait over 1,000 days behind.
Yeah, that's really went through post high then. That's a really good kick there by Lee, though, just to honour that lead, because it does keep the defender, Plowman, really honest now for the rest of the afternoon.
So Tui kicks to himself, goes down the middle. There were more Swans than Blues there. Nick Smith gets his hands on the footy, back inside 50 again. Gee, that's a good mark by Simpson.
He's so brave, Kate Simpson. He's been that loose man. They've tried to negotiate that extra man. Turn over here.
He's given it straight away to Kennedy. Kennedy caught for holding the ball, so he wasn't expecting it. Then when he had it, just wasn't able to get it away cleanly. Carlton's kicking out of defence has been just a little scratchy to start this match already. It's
Eye contact, Sydney.
pretty.
Stay on the ball, thank you.
Here's Kate Simpson running back in front of the hole, in front of Franklin. He's obviously playing as that loose man, and that's how they like to get their set up and run.
Foot's first kick in senior football. Nice to have a possession, gets it in the hands, bangs it inside 50. That'll feel good.
I think the other thing that Carlton will be trying hard to make sure that they cover, and that is the one out the back there. Doherty will probably try and play behind Buddy when the ball's up the other end of the ground. They won't want to get caught out.
Sinclair and Cruiser. Cruiser went to ground. His foot again, burrowing in hard.
Fine, pinned.
And another academy product, Jude. So it's been a good factory, hasn't it?
Yeah, certainly they're taught the right way, both forward and defensive running, and certainly the academy has produced a number of stars.
Hey, Jude, is this the way they always play the Sydney Swans forward, where they're staying at home, they're not going to their stoppage, just to keep the Carlton defenders honest?
I think it's certainly the way they want to contend against Carlton. Quite often they do push up around the stoppages, but because Carlton really benefit from having Doherty or Simpson loose last week against West Coast, they've tried to make that mindful and keep a number at home.
So they've had it at their end for a good period of this opening term after the Blues started so well. Inside 50s a 5-1 in favour of the Swans, but nothing really to show for it at the moment. Phillips, well done, Cripps, quickly as he gathered the football, kicks towards the middle of the ground. That was a good contest. Well done, Smith, just peeling off, got it from Mills, and Buddy marks inside 50.
That was a beautifully weighted kick there. Absolutely perfect kick between two Carlton defenders to Buddy. An impressive young player he is too, Mills, just to be able to release that ball to Smith. That's the placement of the kick, just perfect.
15 seconds.
So Buddy was goalless last week against Hawthorn. First time this season. Last time he was goalless in a game also against Hawthorn. Next week he kicked 7 goals straight against the Blues. Not going to happen today because the post and a behind.
And the wind too. It's going to be difficult for the players at both ends of the grounds to contend with this. The Sydney Swans kicked something like 4-18, I think 4-19
in the reserves.
In the reserve grade game before this game.
Doherty to Simpson. Long ball, Wiedering up forward, got his hands on it. Well done, Mitchell down in front. Foot again. Back to Mitchell. Now a rolling ball inside. Hewitt, Kennedy. It's a good handball out in front of Towers. He just couldn't get his hands on the football. Now a hard ball to win in there. And won't come out. Umpire having a good look. And says holding the ball against Graham.
The tackling's been strong from both sides. Certainly 14-9 the tackling at the moment. It's been high tackle numbers from both teams.
And this is the non-negotiable. If you play as a Sydney Swans forward, then you're required to get in there and compete and tackle, as Xavier Richards did then. And you just need to make sure that the ball doesn't get locked underneath you and you don't fall on top of it in the first place. Correct decision.
He gets another shot at his first goal in senior football. Hangs it out left. Lets the breeze bring it back. Xavier's got his first.
That's a great kick, isn't it? Like, he really learnt from the first one where the ball drifted to once it got a little bit of air. He gave that a lot of air again as he did his first shot at goal, and it just carried back beautifully on the breeze.
Just a great correction, as you mentioned, though, Tim. Just about be able to adjust those breeze. You've seen the first 2 shots at goal. Just to change your attitude and just to change your target and go straight to that left post. And here's the reaction from Ted, from Xavier Richards. Comes back in for Ted Richards, and they all got around him after his second shot on goal. Really adjusted to the breeze very well.
Well, we heard from Tim how close they are. Brother Ted also kicked his first goal in senior football in his 3rd game. So the brothers sticking together on that one. And, well, Tim, as you said, there'd be no one happier for him than big brother Ted.
No, they're very close, those boys.
Good stuff. Here's Gibbs. Right. Just pokes one short to Buckley.
Thanks, Carlton. Play on!
In the square when he kicks. So goes with a long ball. Favoured Rampy, but that's a very, very good mark. Terrific stuff by Curnow.
He's a super talented young player, Charlie Curnow, and this is just a fantastic mark inside forward 50. As we see Dylan Buckley, just a long penetrating kick to advantage, but that is just a strong under some serious heat.
That is a great mark. He could be anything, this kid. We haven't seen too much of him yet. He's had a couple of setbacks, but he could be a midfielder. He could be a damaging forward.
Playing just his 6th game of senior footy. He's kicked 4 goals already in his career this year. And that is a very good kick. In difficult conditions, Carlton get there first. It was a good grab, wasn't it?
Strong mark.
Yeah, really strong.
And going back with the fly of the ball like that, and with a little bit of extra carry perhaps on the wing, you're not quite sure what's going to be coming from behind you. And I think anyone that plays against this Sydney Swans defence knows that there's going to be some real competition in the air and some real aggression in that spoil. But that was a great bit of work there by Curnow. What a promising start his career is off to.
Here we see Charlie Curnow just in between Aliir and Dane Rampy. He had the outstretched leap and just a good quality finish for goal.
Rampy's become such an accomplished defender, and he was in a really good spot there, so even more credit for the mark. Parker just wheels out of the middle, sends the ball down towards Sinclair. One hand, Wiedering behind him. Good follow-up from Sinclair. Gave it to Hewitt. Mitchell flicks it over. Cripps read it best. And now Wright, so the Blues on the attack again. Ball down towards Curnow for his second mark inside a minute. Socket forward quickly, off the ground. Runner is on. Brilliant football by Sumner. What a follow-up and what a goal.
What a sensational goal from Liam Sumner. You could see the pace, Tim, of this young man. Obviously came from GWS. He had some injuries at the Giants, but just elite speed working back inside forward 50. You thought he was going to put some pressure on, but just to get past Lloyd and then to put that on the boot out of mid-air, incredible finish.
They haven't been a high-scoring side at all this year, Carlton, but that was really direct play from halfback. Well, here's the turnover at half-back, and there's Cripps, who is just such a smart player. But that ball went right down the corridor, and in the end, a good finish there by Sumner.
It was Buckley who socketed off the ground, and Sumner was behind him and then just kept charging, as are the Blues at the moment. Gibbs, long ball inside 50. Curnow almost again. Sumner's inspired, tackling hard. Lloyd gets it from Aliir, just under pressure at the moment, the Swans. Hewitt, maybe, couldn't quite get to that one. Well followed up by Boakhurst, but in the end, the Swans come away with it. Towers, long ball to Sinclair, and that's a strong grab. Just rattled here at the moment, the Swans. Inside 50, and that has just landed inside the field of play. So credit to the Blues, a couple in a row, and, well, John Longmire just wanting his team to settle quickly.
Well, that's what Brendan Bolton's brought, is that ability to set up well defensively and very well organised as a team unit.
Naismith won that hit out down, and Sydney will get the free kick. Jack was taken high.
Thanks, Matt. Play on. You.
It just pops it up. Clever kick, and Parker in front almost. Ball on the deck. Hapley has it at his feet. We'll get a start again. Well, impressive the endeavour of the Blues, Tim.
Oh, I think that's been the non-negotiable that Brendan Bolton has brought to this Carlton outfit.
Naismith, that was brilliantly done. Hanbury ran onto the ball from Parker, but just bent it around too much.
We know he's come from Bolton, and that is the way that Hawthorn played. Like, you've got to be aggressive, you've got to be competitive, and everything starts from there. You can turn the ball over, you can win the ball when it's a 50-50 contest, and that's what they're trying to do, Carlton, and build from the back too with the defensive side of their game.
So Simpson involved a couple of times there with Wiedering, and eventually Wiedering's going to run onto it again. Buckley back to Silvani, and now he takes off. The 18-year-old has a bounce on the SCG. Went looking to Armfield. Now he didn't really have the football. Maybe a bit unlucky not to get a free kick there. Under pressure, Hewitt. He's under all sorts of pressure and holding the ball. What a great start this is by the Blues.
Sensational transfer again by the Blues. All the way along, you could see Wiedering trying to get involved. He had a number of touches along that way. They've been quite aggressive with their ball movement this last little period, but it's been their pressure, Tim, that's been very, very evident.
Yep. And high on handballs too, 20 kicks, 29 handballs, and you know, they're really prepared to run and carry and share the ball and run it at this Swans defence.
So Armfield, who's had a big bag already this season, this to put the Blues 10 points in front for his 12th of the season from virtually dead in front. Great start, Carlton.
fantastic start by the Blues, and obviously Armfield got on the end of that, but it was some solid pressure inside their forward 50. But you love just seeing a team willing to link up by hand and take the game on, especially against a quality side like Sydney, who can defend extremely well. They're still susceptible to pressure if you put the enormous pressure and heat in the front half.
Dennis Armfield with a goal and a terrific feature with one of Carlton's real Carlton heroes at half-time, talking life and footy. And Carlton's footy pretty good right at the moment. They're up by 10 points. Early going in this game. Beautiful day at the SCG. Jude, it's a slightly longer SCG now.
Well, they extended the ground when they did the Victor Trumper stand at the right of screen, and then obviously they did the Bradman stand at the other end, and they extended that by a couple of metres as well. So it's a couple short of the MCG, so it's a little bit longer than people expect.
Ball in the middle. They're just trying to get something going. Parker, Kennedy, through that it seemed. Armfield, who kicked the last goal. Sumner, Armfield again. Kerridge have worked it well to White. Good football. They're going nicely, the Blues, taking it on. Buckley's kick towards half forward. Phillips is the target. No push out, and Cunningham, who had the first touch, goes back and wraps up the mark.
They're working well together at the moment, aren't they? Their overlap and their link up of handball, Carlton, and their preparedness to run at this Swans defence too.
Lloyd out wide for Richards, who has the Swans' only goal so far this afternoon. Lloyd follows up. Ball towards half forward, and Buddy, a long way from home, takes the mark. He wants to go, takes on row, gets around him pretty easily. 80 metres from home. Well, I don't think Kennedy knew the ball was coming his way. A bit of a miss kick, so was surprised, but he follows up Kennedy and kicks a wonderful goal.
Great call, Basil. I actually don't. I think the reason why he didn't think the ball was coming his way was because Buddy didn't intend it to go there either. I'm pretty sure that was a missed kick, and that was a wobbler. That's the type of kick that you kick at each other before you go up the train.
Just to test the hands a little bit.
Just to test everybody's fingers. And Kennedy, who has a great set of hands, he wasn't able to get his fingers around that one, but his ability to back up and follow up and then finish off was magnificent.
Well, here we see the Franklin kick as he enters forward 50. It was a complete shank. But Josh Kennedy was unaware of where it was coming. But to keep his feet, avoid the tackle, and to finish truly was sensational.
So strong. He's having another wonderful season, as is this man, Hanbury. Just bursts through, sends the ball out towards Jordan Foote, who has started really lively in this game. Curnow, though, taken high. So a little reprieve there for the Blues. Big brother Ed sends the ball down towards the forward pocket. A rolling ball, and White.
There we see Casbolt there, nearly got on the end of that mark. They've been working really hard up for the Blues with Curnow and also Silvani. So they're creating the space, which is giving them these options. They were last in the competition coming into today's game in inside 50s and converting from scores. So far, 5 times inside 50s for the 3 goals won. So plenty of space and work rate up forward for the Blues is fantastic.
Thanks, Welshie. Levi Casbolt back in the side this week after a week out with suspension. Still the Blues, their aggression at the footy hard. Right. Thought he might have won a free kick. Looked up at the umpire.
He's going to have his work cut out today, Casbolt, because he's up against one of the best defenders and the most informed key defenders in the game in Grundy. I'm not sure he's played a better season than he's played this year, Jude.
This has been incredibly consistent from Heath Grundy. I mean, he's had some really tough opponents all year, but he's stood up tall the entire season.
Jordan Foote is finding his feet very quickly at this level, Tim.
He looks okay.
There's no legal tackle there.
I mean, it's rare that Sydney actually insert a young, inexperienced kid into their side. I mean, they've played Heaney and Mills, which is most unlike Sydney, but that just sort of speaks volumes for their abilities at this early age of their career.
4 disposals already. Here's Cunningham, also back in the side this week. Cripps, now right, down towards Casbolt. It just rolled away from him, and Grundy gathers. Tough clearing ball. Lloyd, though, did that beautifully, didn't he? Hanbury, he spotted him, held the football, then gave it to Kennedy. They're running well here. Here's Rowan, takes off through the middle of the ground. All the speed on display now. A second bounce inside 50. Not a great kick, but it is for Buddy. who couldn't bring it around enough. Well, that might have been a bit harsh, actually. It may well have been a perfect kick. He may indeed have meant to just lay that one up.
It looked like he did. He took the heat out of the ball just before he made contact.
Check which side of the post it went.
Oh, we can help you out there.
Certainly behind. This will be pretty quick to move on for this one. But the pressure from Carlton again, they didn't give up on the chase for Gary Rowan. And that put him under enough pressure to just fluff the kick to Franklin.
Completed, the scorers are behind.
Fair enough from the goal umpire.
Well, I think the other part about that is the sun might be right in her eyes there too at that angle.
And they are the hardest. Anyone who's done any goal umpiring at junior footy or school knows that those ones from close range, they're almost impossible to pick when the player is only a metre or so out. Gee, that's a good mark. Is it paid in front to Aaliyah? Yes, it is. And he plays on. He steps inside 50 and just chips it short. Great composure, great mark. And then a wonderful finish short to Xavier Richards, who's becoming their target.
It was terrific work by Lee, just to pop up to his feet, knowing full well that Carlton were going to slide back their numbers inside defensive 50, and just there was always going to be a target. Once you get that intercept mark, there's generally a target free inside forward 50.
Well, before this afternoon, he had not kicked a goal in senior football, and he's now got 2 in the first quarter. And Sydney are back in front.
It was a great mark by Aaliyah, but you're quite right. He bounced straight up onto his feet. But you often see players blaze away and they lose their composure. But the thing about his kick, he just spotted the kick up to Xavier. And that's the second time. He's played really smart footy, Xavier. He's actually led hard at the ball carrier. Now, you don't always get that lead on it, Jude. But if you keep leading, often players will see you as their first port of call when they're doing their checklist, and they'll drop the ball off to you. So, great play.
Here's Xavier Richards kicking his second goal in the first term. He started very well, and as you mentioned, Tim, just to lower his eyes, Aaliyah popped to his feet, dropped it in front of Xavier Richards, and they are starting to look a lot solider inside forward 50.
26 goals in his last 6 rounds in the knee full, so he does come in with good form. And 2 in the first term here. Mitchell, that was brilliant. Mills on the follow-up. That was expert work after Cunningham fired the handball out. So Kerridge under pressure. White goes in hard, wins the footy. Needs to be careful here from what we've seen already this afternoon. But that time the umpire says he'll throw it up.
Both teams have adjusted to the breeze a little bit more, lowering their eyes, dropping it a bit shorter. The kicking efficiency's jumped up 68% now to Carlton, 62 to Sydney. Early on it was running almost 50%.
Gibbs just soccering off the ground. Grundy went down to pick it up. Took a while to get down there. Phillips back to right. And the kick inside 50. Well, he just rushed it off the boot. And again, the Sydney Swans able to get back and form that wall. Graham keeping a little blue, and Mills, he's a good user of the footy, isn't he?
There is nothing wrong with these foot skills.
Here is Foot. He puts the ball in Buddy's direction.
Contact, Carlton.
And it's going to go Rose way. Is it against Towers, maybe?
Against you, yes, thank you.
It was against Franklin in that marking contest. It was 2-on-1. He just got over the top of Sam Rowe. It was turnover.
It's a bad one too. Back to Doherty, who soccers. And luckily Simpson is on the end of it, so not clean or particularly convincing, but it's worked out okay. White, Doherty's followed up, runs towards the wing, really good kick into the middle of the ground, and now Gibbs is away. Looks up, going back, Cruiser. He's got Sinclair in the wrong position, and Cruiser, a strong grab.
Sensational work by the Blues. It came with Doherty. He had to deal with the errant kick across goal. He socketed it off the ground and was able to follow up and just transfer the ball all the way down. That was a strong grab by Matthew Cruiser on the resting ruck.
They're moving the ball quickly, the Blues, aren't they? They're very keen to go. Doesn't kick a lot of goals, Matthew Cruiser. Just the 4 so far this season in his 15 games. But he makes no mistake with this one. Another lead change. Carlton showing plenty of fight. They're back in front.
Yeah, just pushed hard forward, Matthew Cruiser, on Callum Sinclair. He knew he just had to work. He's got a big engine Cruiser. He's come into the game a little bit sore with those knees, but you know how hard he is. He's able to work and push hard, and he's a target inside forward 50. So he had to work really hard to get that footy. But once again, the effort from Sam Doherty, who's having a terrific year, to be able to just be composed and work that back and get up the ground.
It was great play by the big fella. They love his work rate. He may be a little bit undersized sometimes against some of the other monsters in the competition, but he's got an enormous heart.
Having a rest here, Phillips and Sinclair go at it. Jack tried to go off the ground. Gibbs taken high.
An entertaining first quarter footy.
It's been a ripper.
The Blues have been fantastic, and Cripps has only had the 3 disposals early. It's come from Gibbs, who's up to 8 disposals already in this first quarter.
So Kerridge from the wing drives it inside 50 again. Aaliyah, well, he had it, missed it, and Curnow kicks a goal.
Well, their intent has been in this first quarter, Carlton, to get the ball inside their attacking 50 as quickly as they can. They've actually tried to funnel the ball back inside the corridor too, as much as they've been able to, and then put some real heat and pressure on this Sydney defence by kicking the ball deep into the air, getting a contest and then just working off that. It's been a really good game. They haven't been a high-scoring side, as I said earlier, Carlton, but it's been a really attacking performance so far.
Yeah, he was just a fumble from Aaliyah. He had an uncontested mark in the defensive 50, and once the ball got in behind it, Curnow had swarmed on that and got the ball inside forward 50 for a big goal.
Big afternoon for the Curnow. So Charlie with a goal, and then big brother Ed, and they're out to a 9-point lead. A game that's had 4 lead changes already. Carlton picking up from really where they left off against the West Coast Eagles. They finished fast last week at the MCG. Aaliyah better that time. Dished it to Grundy, who sent it long towards half forward and over the line with 2 minutes remaining in this first term. So the Blues by 9 points. There's been a lot to like about their attack on the football all season, really. And Brendan Bolton will be well pleased with what has taken place so far in this game, Jude.
Well, certainly even around the stoppages, there's 2-0 at stoppages, and we know how good the Swans are at the stoppages, so they've been working really well as a team there.
Cripps, brilliant. Gibbs, Kerridge. Here they come again, down towards half forward. Curnow almost. Rampy mops up. They've looked under pressure, retreating the Sydney Swans. Haven't always brought it out cleanly. This time Grundy to Smith, okay.
And it's Carlton forcing the Swans under pressure by getting that ball forward. And you've got guys like Grundy and Rampy, such good defenders who can zone off. You need to get it in quick like the Blues are.
2 weeks in a row for the Curnow brothers, kicking goals in the same team. And that's a good mark by Sinclair. So just over a minute to play, and that's a strong mark by Naismith, who goes to Buddy quickly outside 50 around Doherty. Then around Wiedering. Back to Jack, back to Buddy. Brilliant build-up, brilliant football. Is there anyone better than this man? How good was that?
Well, he got given the ball by Naismith on his wrong side initially. It was just a couple of little short handballs, and then he was able to get onto his favourite side. This handball from Kieran Jack, but what a finish. He is so good from that 50 arc.
That first handball, this one here from Buddy, just watch this. This is only ever a lend. That ball was just lent. He had it coming back to him. He knew exactly what he was doing. He just needed to freeze himself up.
Just sensational finish there from Buddy Franklin. As you mentioned, Tip, just a little pop handball, so he would definitely get it back and have an over shot from the outside 50.
Goalless last week. He's got a goal here in the first term. And Mitchell, with the Blues up by 3 points, trying to see if they can get one back. Papley held onto it too long. And that was well done by Tui. Sweated on Papley. As soon as he had the footy in his hands, the tackle was clean. So, what a great term it's been.
This is what Carlton have been able to do, though, against a lot of sides, being able to be really brave early on, and it's just about continuing that and maintaining it for 4 quarters.
Good grab by Phillips. Well, you feel like they deserve the lead here at quarter time, the Blues.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this young bloke's starting to really build into a career too.
Yeah, starting to take some big clunks. Aliir in front. Get his hands on the footy, and Mills just sees it over the line. So 9 seconds left on the clock. Carlton 5-1. Sydney 4-4. Conditions a little tricky. John Longmire preparing the message, which it looks like will come with that lead. Carlton by 3 points. It has been a great game of footy. 4 lead changes, lots of endeavour from the Blues. Some brilliance from Buddy for the Sydney Swans. 28 plays 31. Blues up by 3 points at quarter time. Great spectacle up at the SCG on this Saturday afternoon. Carlton 5-1, Sydney 4-4. Carlton's 31 is the most by any visiting team in the first term since round 5 last year. It's been a great start by the Blues. Johnny Barker is down with Andrew Welsh.
Well, Barks, you must be happy with the pressure, but also the aggression in around the footy.
Yeah, intensity's been really good. We probably overused the ball a little bit around the clearances early, but once we started to surge and take ground, we got a better look forward.
And using the footy, talk about the surge going forward. Really, Sydney at times looked to scramble a bit when you can get it in deep 50 nice and quick.
Yeah, we thought we had to put their defenders under a bit more pressure. As I said, we were overusing the ball and not taking that ground. And when we started to, we got some bang for buck.
Good luck in the second quarter. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
So it has been a really good start by the Blues. What have you liked, Tim? What's impressed you about Carlton's set up today? Certainly their application has been a feature.
Yeah, I think the things that Wish had just touched on there with Johnny Barker pretty much summed it up. They're being really strong and powerful inside, and you need to be against a really strong contesting side like the Sydney Swans. But then when they've broken, they've been prepared to really run hard, share the ball, but then get the ball in deep and put some pressure on this Sydney defence by kicking the ball in high, so that engages the defenders. They can't sag off their direct opponent and outnumber you, and it's been really promising and really attacking the way they've played.
Yeah, their work around the stoppages has been fantastic. Naismith's obviously getting his hand of footy. He's had 12 hit-outs, but they're winning the clearances. The Carlton side, they're 13 to 10 in the clearances.
So it's the Blues by 3 points at the start of the second term, round 18 at the SCG. And Jude Bolton, legend of this football club, they have been a bit patchy of late, the Swans, and at home they've been patchy. That's been the big surprise.
Yeah, I think John Long might be really disappointed with that first term. Just they were out-hunted at times by the Blues, and certainly just susceptible to some of the turnovers in the defensive half.
So Cruiser marked the row ball coming in. Casbolt's the target here. Aliir again, though, just reads the football so well. Parker, though, didn't go where it needed to be. Andy slipped over, and now there might be a free kick for Curnow, taken high.
I'd be right in saying that the ball seems to be carrying more to the right of screen and holding up to the left of screen. Would I be right in saying that, Judy? Is that normal here?
It's not normal, but it's certainly today. You can see the flags, and down at ground level, it's certainly pushing to right of screen at the moment.
So Curnow with a free kick. This is Ed Curnow, 26-year-old, game 105. It's been a good afternoon for the brothers already. Just lays the ball up, but
that really held up there.
Yeah.
No run at it there, and Grundy, well, he knew where the ball was going to drop. It dropped short. So Aliir, whose attack on the ball never in question, his disposal sometimes not ideal. Richards didn't really want it there. Gibbs takes it again, back again. Sandwich was Curnow, comes back Kerridge's way. High ball, top of the square. Awkward one for Smith, but he did very well. Got a fist on the footy and a good bit of the ball and made sure it went over the line.
Gibbs is having a terrific start of the game. He's up to 12 disposals, 200 metres gained. He's been also had 6 contested possessions.
So Naismith and Cruiser, no real effect on that contest. They both slipped over. Curnow, Cripps, Curnow again, gets it to Cruiser, just got his kick away, going back Casbolt, no free, no mark, ball still alive here, Silvani. He's brought to ground, ball comes out, Boakhurst, Curnow, Plowman did well back to Gibbs, and now Tui. The ball was touched, so Sydney holding firm. Smith's ball. Tough one for Richards to handle. Boakhurst, he got a hand in there, then won the football back and then gives it up to Jack. Holding the ball was the call. I'm not sure that was Jack's free kick, actually. He wasn't the tackler, but the umpire waved him on, so a bit lucky there. Might be coming back anyway. Gibbs, Kerridge, and again, Jack in the road. This is better now. Parker to Franklin, who kicked such a brilliant goal a few moments into that last quarter. Towers gets onto the end of it. Couldn't control it. Went back and got it, and Gibbs wraps him up. And maybe a stoppage here inside 50. It's been tough going, and eventually the umpire says he'll take it.
We saw Isaac Heaney kick inside 50, then his first touch for the game a few weeks back in the reserves, back in the side. He's chasing a big game today, the young star.
In straight away, thank you.
Really struggling to hit a target at the moment. The Swans running at 56%. That's particularly coming out of the back half. They've just had some awful turnovers. They need to find it, make it easier for their teammate by putting it out in front.
Heaney just the one disposal. Towers now.
Mine's still mine.
Foot gets onto the end of it. Didn't really need it there from Towers. Still alive, Papley, Cunningham.
Play on.
Pulled off the football. Going in hard. So coming off the ball was Parker. And then they work it around cleanly to Tui. Kerridge now on the wing in front of his man. Simpson gives the ball over to Cripps. Drives it towards half forward now. Rampy under the ball and over the line it'll go.
That wasn't a great start. It is, but that wasn't a great kick there by Cripps. And it is going to be difficult for players of both teams with this wind out there. But what was great about that was they forced a turnover, Carlton, and then they set themselves up in an attacking position off half-back.
They worked it out okay here, but the kick is not a good one from Papley. It's coming back inside 50. Silvani got the ball on the bounce, gets around Aaliyah. Doherty runs up and follows up and then goes back, and Boakhurst has it at about 55. Waste no time. Short to Simpson. Simpson to the pocket. Kerridge, not quite the mark. See, they're looking dangerous, the Blues. Naismith uses Smith. Back to Naismith. Drives the ball down the line. Towers did well. Held the handball cleverly for Jack, who ran into trouble and wins a free kick.
That's a dangerous one when someone's in the air. Obviously, he leapt just as Cade Simpson was just underneath the legs, but you're in a pretty vulnerable position in the air.
Canterbury takes wide on, runs away from him. Ball down towards full forward, and Richards looking really good. Had the free kick, took the mark, gives it to Buddy, who calls rank. Another wobbly one from Buddy, and Cruiser in the right place. Marks.
He won't be doing that in 5 years' time, Xavier Richards. Giving it off to Buddy. He'll be going back and saying, hang on a minute. I know where the goals are.
Cruiser. See, that's a big fly from the side. Mark not taken this time by Curnow. Tui got it across, and now eventually it comes to Cripps. Armfield rather was used there.
Great kick.
And that was brilliant, wasn't it, to Kerridge?
That is a great kick between three Sydney Swans players into the middle of the ground. It just opens up play.
50 protected area, Carlton.
50 metres now.
Yeah, against Dean Towers, it looks like, against just in the centre of the ground, obviously, right into the protected area.
Against Josh Kennedy.
Josh Kennedy.
Yeah, he's come from what? No, his man was well and truly on the other side. He's got to follow him, make an attempt to follow.
Mark is here, Sam.
So let's have a look here. Kennedy.
He's got to go. The umpire just said he had to go on the same side as Curnow and follow him.
And go also laterally, push out of that area. So he's run.
I think he would have been okay had he actually stuck with Curnow and been following Curnow. But the fact that Curnow went to the left, he went to the right, is the reason why he's being penalised.
So Kerridge for the first score of this second term, 6.5 minutes played. Kerridge for his first goal of the game from inside 50. It's not a good kick, and that breeze is difficult. Clearly, that's a 4-point lead now for for the Blues, but not easy to handle.
No, this is a tough breeze at the moment. Obviously, they're having great difficulty coming out of the defensive 50, the Swans. And certainly Carlton put enormous pressure on to try and get that turnover. Here's another one.
That's great.
Holding the ball, Carlton. Take the set kick. Jack Silvani.
Lloyd ran into all sorts of trouble, didn't he? And Silvani wins the free kick. The pressure from the Blues. What a feature it's been.
Move it on. Play on.
Just see the growing belief. Silvani. High ball. Again at the back. Curnow. No mark this time. Charlie was up there. Buckley ducked ahead. Lucky. Maybe. Has he kicked it? He has. From the pocket. What about that from Buckley?
What a snap from Dylan Buckley. And he actually double-handled the first one. He put it back into scramble. He was able to get up off the ground, and just an unbelievable snap. But you can see the pressure that this Carlton side, that it pleased Brendan Bolton no end, the fact that they're just hunting after the Swans. And don't underestimate the fact that Jared McVeigh is out of this lineup with that groin injury, because he's one of the most composed ball users coming out of defensive 50.
Just a quick handball, not able to grab it cleanly the first time, but that is unbelievable snap.
Sort of ducked ahead, didn't he? And the umpire waved him on, obviously. As it turns out, that was the best thing for the Blues. So Carlton, again, not for the first time in this game, lead by 10 points, and the pressure stays right on the Sydney Swans. Kennedy, that was clever. Ed Curnow. Slapped forward, Towers' way, runs inside 50. They need a goal, the Swans, but won't get one with that kick. 9 points is the spread.
Please, got to wait till he's finished.
Dean Towers is a much improved player, but it's certainly he's had some moments in some close games the last few weeks that I guess he'd be ruining the fact that he's had some opportunities that's probably just passed up.
So Doherty, who's started this game well, does the kicking in. Phillips is his target. He got a hand on it. That was the first part of the job, and then happy just to see the ball over the line. So did okay there. Kieran Jack on the interchange bench, waiting to get back out there. 7 disposals for Jack.
He spent a bit of time over the other side of the ground talking to the doctors and physios after that big fall, but they just told him to come off and freshen up, and he looks good. Tough player.
Hewitt did well, rode the bump, gave the ball to Towers. Boakhurst right there with him, got his handball away, and now a free kick. It's going Hewitt's way in there, who did well to start that off. He kept the ball moving Sydney's way when he rode the bump earlier, and won that
around
free
your mark,
kick.
please. 5 metres around.
Just on the first attempt, didn't get low enough.
2 more metres.
This has got to be almost an impossible kick by what we've seen so far, though. It's a tight angle. Jude, does he hang this out to the right, or
well, he's got space.
Which way's the Blues going to catch
to
it?
open it up a little bit more once he came inside the boundary.
Kicked a dozen goals this season. From what we've seen today, it's not impossible. People have been kicking goals from all sorts of angles, but not that time. It just fisted over the line. It's been a good game. So the Blues up by 8 points. Cade Simpson to himself. Saw Rowan coming, so retreated broadcast side. Gives the ball to Doherty, who drives it in the Gibbs direction. Rampy right there with him, and it comes back to Gibbs.
Good hands.
Here's Graham. Looks up. Short one is on. Not quite the mark for Casbolt. Wasn't a great kick. He had to stretch and then lost his footing. Cripps, though, wins the ball, as he so often does in a tight situation. Graham from Kerridge, out to the pocket. Wright kept running, outside 50, just pops it up. Not the mark for Curnow. Silvani, good roving. And now Armfield off the ground. It's rolling back. And a behind only.
So impressed with Gibbs on 2 occasions in this term alone. He's brought the ball back inside the... And it's just opened up the whole field for Carlton to attack past or through. He's a clever player, Gibbs, and so rounded in the way that he plays his footy now too.
Lear to Cunningham, and Buddy with a free kick and 50 metres.
It's just wait for the sector.
He let one fly from there, Buddy. Almost go the distance.
They're coming.
He's got Rowan deep, and he's going to take a shorter option to Parker.
Hold.
It was a short 50.
Here's Buddy. He wanted it. He was trying to manufacture this. So he's inside the square. When he lets go, didn't quite have the distance. So that was using the 50 metres to get the ball back to have the shot from inside the square. So clever and so exciting.
Shows how well Carlton have been going today, though. Sydney averaged 36 points from stoppages, and they've only scored the 3 today.
Tui, good kick, and Phillips, Tim, he is an emerging player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good hands, Graham, not quite the mark. Goes back in. Jack looks to be okay now. Lloyd. And now Mills. Buddy has got 3 to beat. Towers got the ball from Hewitt. Buddy a chance to run onto it for his second. That's better from Sydney. Back to 2 points.
I like that handball too. Like, he could have taken the shot, but if you can make it a certainty and there's somebody there, I always say you make it as easy as you possibly can.
Plus, you give it to the big name. Don't worry about that.
No, you're not talking about giving it to the big name. He can get enough of his own, this bloke.
It was terrific work again by the Swans. They're preying on turnover at the moment. That's the way they've manipulated and scored their goals today.
Well, there's the 3 players that are competing against Buddy, which means that they're going to be other ground level players from the Sydney Swans alone. And in the end, they just made a certainty of it.
2 now for Buddy Franklin. He loves playing against the Blues. 12 games, averages 4 goals a game. He's halfway there already. So back to a 2-point spread with that last goal. Simon White controlled it okay. It was a tough one. Buckley. Close to the line, but kept in. Well done. So Graham kept running. Blues coming again. Phillips at the other end. Aaliyah knocked him over. No free kick. Lloyd. Here's Cunningham. Good chase from behind, but the kick was okay. And Hanbury honoured the kick, wrapped it up on his chest. Clean to the middle of the ground, G. Naismith. That was a perfect kick.
He's just growing in confidence, Sam Naismith. Obviously, we've spoken about he's getting more of his hands to footy, but that's not a great kick.
Hewitt able to get there and then give the ball backwards. So they got out of it for the time being, but they might not be out of danger yet. And again, the ball towards the wing. So all of that a little bit untidy, and clearly the pressure of Sydney, the pressure they're under, it's resulting in a fair few turnovers, Tim. Naismith again might have been taken high by Cripps. No free. Graham trying to keep the ball locked in.
That's why I was just looking at the stats there. Heaney's only had the 1 touch so far.
Thank you.
Would they put him in the midfield, Jude, just to give him a bit of a run around and just free him up from being that sort of high half forward?
Well, that's why they put him back in the knee full, just to get his hands on the footy, because he has played as that deeper forward and a target inside forward 50, and he's probably hasn't been getting much ball channeled through him. So I'd throw him in the midfield to get him around it.
The Cripps from outside 50 just sets it up high. Graham's going to be the first man to arrive. Jack, good handball, found Hewitt. Now they run it out through Kennedy. Parker, brilliant handball to Buddy, who wants to take them on. Well done, Rowe. That was a brilliant tackle. Stopped the great man in his tracks. Tui. Simpson retreating, needs to be careful. It was really well done by Richards. Chased it down, knocked it away. In the end, just a little bit too far.
He's had some really good forward half defensive efforts, Xavier Richards, and here you can see how athletic he is. He saw that, he read the cues, and got across the good spoil.
So still the Blues by 2 points. Cruiser. Run it down. Cripps fell over. Hewitt got it from Mitchell. Now Parker. Outside 50 when he kicks. And Foot coming towards the goals. Kept the ball rolling his way. That was really well done. Towers taken off the ball. Right. Kerridge. Dangerous ball out. 50-50 for Boakhurst. Just pushing off. And that was okay in the end. The ball just rolling over the line.
They've been impressive, haven't they, Carlton? We've talked about their ability to move the ball, but also their ability to defend deep against this Sydney Swans defence. With numbers, well organised.
So Cruiser gets his hands on the footy again, runs away with the ball towards half forward. He's looked dangerous, Curnow, hasn't he? A real target, Charlie Curnow. Gave that one up to Buddy, though. And the ball now is with Hanbury. So Sydney dangerous. The kick didn't really look, just blazed away. Plowman has to play this well. Did nicely to Simpson. It was at his feet, but enough time to control it. Kick towards the wing, beyond the wing, in fact. Armfield, Cunningham over the line.
And I think that kick from Hanbury there was just not understanding or not having that cohesion with a player like Xavier Richards. He was actually expecting Xavier to do a loop and go back to that space. Xavier actually kept going towards him. Just a bit of miscommunication between the two. They'll get better over time.
Kerridge just gave it away there. Hanbury, Towers, back to Parker. And out of the Kerridge tackle. Mills was on in the middle of the ground, didn't get there. Cruiser back to Kerridge. Now Sumner. So the Blues forward again, inside 50. Curnow, Aaliyah, what a great mark.
He's been very good, Basil. Just his ability to read it, and particularly in this breeze, just to watch that and sit under that high ball, it was very, very good.
His last two games, Aaliyah, have been terrific. 16 disposals against the Hawks, 15 against Geelong, against very accomplished opposition. The week before that he was in the NEFL. So he's finding his feet at this level very, very quickly. He's probably keeping Teddy Richards out of the side.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's always been...
not go off the ball there.
That was clever.
On the ball, Carlton.
Good pressure again from Carlton. I mean, they've been really impressive. They've lost the ball, but it's been their willingness to work to win the ball back and turn it over again against Sydney.
So Mitchell to Towers, but Towers just dropped the ball straight away, the umpire said. So Wright sends it inside 50. Oh, Aaliyah almost. Now a chance for Boakhurst. Runs into an open goal, and they're 8 points in front again, the Blues.
Well, once again, we see that surge mentality. Get it in quickly. They could put some pressure on the defenders at Sydney and then absolutely swarm that contest. This is a great work by Blaine Boakhurst to get onto the fall of that ball, and he found himself goal side and able to finish truly. But they are really hunting the Swans. It's been a very impressive start in this first half by the Carlton side.
Well, that's after they won the ball back. And they haven't been afraid to kick the ball to a contest. They get the contest there. They've worked off it. And it has put the defence of Sydney under all sorts of pressure in the first half.
8-point lead for the Blues. Playing inspired football here at the SCG. Kennedy did well, got the ball out of that pack. Simpson tracking it back. Is Tui on half-back, so he's got some space. Driving kick, as we know, goes in the Casbolt direction, but he wanted a free kick. No free kick. There is Aaliyah. What a find he's been.
Oh, he's been fantastic. I mean, obviously, they just knew they needed to get his tank and his engine up, but certainly he's so comfortable at this level, and he's using the ball very well.
Cripps, that was magnificent. Then just had nobody to give the ball to, so Parker running hard. Hanbury, but not a great kick. And the mark taken by Buckley, just in the road, gave it to Doherty. It's not the first time we've seen that. In fact, their kicking towards the forward line has not been great. Rowan, brilliant tackle. How about that speed? Armfield didn't know he was coming. Rowan with 4 goals last week in great form. Richards, how's the umpire see this? It's against
Richards.
Tunneling, the umpire said. White's free kick. Almost, Tim, good use of the body, almost just held him up enough, but White lost his footing, and as a result the umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt and the free kick. Cunningham, now Rampy, kick towards the middle of the ground, and Nick Smith, not a great handball. Mitchell on his knees, Armfield's got him. The ball came out. Charlie Curnow, and again a poor kick towards half forward. Mills played on quickly. Maybe didn't need to do that. Grundy. Mitchell draws the man over the top to Hanbury, who's running hard to get his 14th disposal. Richards in here again. Simpson trying to get a handball out. The umpire says it's okay.
They're just tracking at 47% by foot this quarter, Sydney, which is way below their best, Jude. Now, we talked about the win, but the last 3 kicks from Hanbury haven't hit their target at all.
It's also been he's been out and actually uncontested, unaccounted for.
The Towers went back to Lloyd. High ball, Buddy in the area. Rowan as well. Hewitt. That was dangerous. Slow to get up, back up now, trying to win the football. And we'll have another stoppage inside 50.
Especially the fact that this game has been dominated by the smaller forwards. I mean, Casbolt's only had the 2 handballs and they're leading by 8 points at the moment.
Quick kick out of the congestion, and Cripps had to win that football and did win the football and puts it in front of Wright, who kicks to a vacant 50. So the sprint is on. Grundy, the first man back. Rampy there. They had the numbers, the Swans. Probably not a bad idea from Carlton. There was nothing really to go to, so just a long, deep one.
Yeah, it's more about ground position there, and you can start setting up, and they've got now play held up, which is exactly what they want. They can set up well defensively behind the footy.
So Towers on the end of that chain out of the defensive 50. Hewitt, Rowan, Hapley, been quieter today. Parker, brilliant. And Kennedy, even better. Can he get away from the white tackle? Broke the first. And the white tackle just enough on it to hold the Swans up.
That was all about power then from Kennedy, though, wasn't it? Just exploding from that stoppage, almost able to release himself. But again, Carlton just locking Sydney down with that relentless pursuit.
Naismith and Phillips. Naismith again. Worked his way to the front. Right. He's been busy this afternoon.
In trouble.
He might have just lost the ball at the right moment.
When you go to ground like that, generally you're not given the benefit of the doubt by the umpire.
Gibbs with 16 disposals, been really busy for the Blues. And Cripps with 14, and that kick quickly out of the pack from Curnow, marked by Mills, who is, well, he's a real Sydney favourite already. Lloyd on the end of it from Rampy, gave it to Cunningham, who retreats, had nowhere really to go to. Now Grundy, the kick to the middle of the ground, and Papley marks. So they've done that pretty well, the Swans. Now what? Low, flat one. Sinclair not favoured by it. That's a really good mark by Wiedering. He read it well.
They're just taking all the chances, the Blues. When it's windy like this, you're going to get those opportunities to take intercept marks by short or long kicks. Every chance they're getting, the Blues, they're settling, they're intercepting, and they're trying to combat it the other way.
Graham got it from Boakhurst. Boakhurst has kicked a terrific goal in this quarter. Curnow just watches the ball roll over the line. 7-3 the Blues. Sydney 5-7 inside 50s. 26 the Swans. Carlton 24. And well, that's about right. It has been a very even game. Probably just the Blues' efficiency in front of goal, having them in front at the moment. Right, back to Boakhurst. Now Tui.
He's going to use the extra here.
Doherty is that extra. Inside defensive 50. A couple of bounces got outside the line. Kerridge is on.
Stay there. Push out.
Boakhurst in the middle of the ground if he wants him. Beside the circles. Goes that way. This is good from Carlton. Composed.
Move it on.
Well, I know with Doherty playing as that loose, it leaves Grundy free at the other end. So they're just trying to use the ball well, trying to slice through this zone up.
Wright slips over. Hanbury was right there with him. And White gets the ball over the line. Simon White had a career high 23 disposals against the West Coast Eagles last week. Goes out with Jess Buckley, the sister of Dylan Buckley. Here's Kennedy, breaks away from that pack. Franklin is on, honours that. Franklin turns around quickly. Papley just the one hand, needed two there, and Simpson gets onto the ball from Wiedering, and Simpson running sideways at the moment now.
Not a lot to kick to here.
Goes forward, that was well done. Held the football and just laid it off to Armfield, who now pops a high one up towards half forward. Rampy almost the mark. Gives it to Lloyd. Boakhurst got a hand in there. Now Casbolt. Blues still looking dangerous. Back to Graham. Hard one in there. Naismith did that nicely. Gave it to Mitchell. Tackled by Buckley. Cunningham. Lloyd in the back pocket. down the line. Kennedy couldn't mark. And the ball over the line here will be a win for the Blues.
Been really impressed by the way Carlton have set up here. It's been all based on their pressure in this first half. They've worked hard at clearances. So you can see 23-19 in this first half. We know how strong Sydney are as a clearance side. So Brendan Bolt will be really pleased with this first half.
Hang on.
So less than a minute to go. Blues up by 8 points. They're not done with yet. Boakhurst sends a tricky ball inside 50. Rampy is onto it. So is there time to run it to the other end of the ground? Maybe. Richards, who's been terrific in game number 3. Waste no time. Buddy Franklin on the bounce it'll have to be. Around row. So dangerous in this situation. Still a chance here, Buddy. 20 seconds left on the clock. Ball's handballed out Doherty's way. Now Simpson down the line. They want the siren, the Blues. The boundary line will do them. With 7 seconds left on the clock, Carlton by 8 points. They'll lead at the break, you would think, the Blues. It'll be the 5th time this season that the Swans have trailed at half-time. So what a great half of football it's been, and credit to the Blues. This young side continuing to develop. Sydney 5th on the table with so much to play for. Those top 8 positions vital. And this young Carlton team have taken it right up to them. 7-3, 5-7. It's the Blues by 8 points.
And who would have thought that at half-time? Carlton coming out very, very strongly as they finished off last week against West Coast. So it's a terrific performance so far by Carlton. If you look through the Sydney team, Heaney, Papley, Naismith, Foote, Mills, Hewitt, Aaliyah, Towers, a lot of young players there. So Carlton, who have some pretty experienced players, might really fancy their chances here, although you certainly wouldn't write off the Swans at home and with so many experienced players. At the moment, they've got the work to do, even though they've had 10 more contested possessions and a couple more inside 50s. We'll look at all the highlights coming up shortly. Also, the other game at Metricon, we'll check in there. It's a tight struggle with Gold Coast just ahead at this stage. Take a break, plenty to come here on Super Saturday.
It's half-time at the SCG on Jeep Super Saturday.
Down towards Curnow for his second mark inside a minute. Socket forward quickly. Off the ground. Runner is on. Brilliant football by Sumner. What a follow-up and what a goal.
What a sensational goal from Liam Sumner.
It was, and plenty of great efforts to start the match as far as the Blues are concerned, and they enjoy an 8-point lead at half-time against the Sydney Swans. Here on Super Saturday, as we check the numbers so far from this game, it really has been a competitive performance from the Blues. They have posted 7-3-45, blustery conditions. Bryce Gibbs, Paddy Cripps, and also Kade Simpson have been outstanding in the middle and defence for Carlton. Curnow doing his tagging job and having 14 disposals. Gibbs 17. Kennedy, Parker, the usual suspects in the middle, along with Tom Mitchell for the Swans, and Buddy Franklin, who has a couple of goals and 14 disposals. So to the highlights, the Blues' pressure was a big feature, and we get a quick look before, and here it is again at that the result of that pressure. Liam Sumner producing a fantastic soccer goal. He's had just the 5 disposals, but he was always going to loom large. Puts on the nice step here on Sam Rowe, certainly keeping him busy. Kennedy, little feint to the right, and then gets himself into the clear, and he kicks a goal. He's been a dominant force in this game with 15 disposals so far. The Blues continued their pressure, and when Aaliyah dropped the mark, Ed Curnow was there to dribble through for a goal at that stage. Up by 9 points, Curnow with 14 disposals, 5 clearances and 5 tackles in the first half. The Swans needed to answer, and who else but Buddy Franklin? He was able to step forward and kick a very important goal. Buckley had the stumble and the bumbles early, but he was able to pick this up, gather the footy and put them 11 points up. He's had 8 touches in the first half so far, Dylan Buckley. And again, Towers able to get it over, maybe somewhat reluctantly got it across to Buddy Franklin. Pulled rank, and Buddy put it through for his second goal. 14 disposals and 2 goals too. But certainly the Blues persisting. Boakhurst, who's back in the team today, kicks his only goal of the game so far. So good start for the Blues. We'll be back with action in the third quarter very, very soon. No good. Look forward to that tomorrow night. But a lot of footy to be played out before the boys on bounce hit your screens on Fox Footy as our Super Saturday continues. We're about to head back to the SCG where the Sydney Swans have a battle on their hands, 8 points in front of Carlton. As we speak at the moment, the Blues really taking it to the Swans in that first half, and we'll see whether the Swans with their stars in the midfield can respond. Let's rejoin your commentators at the SCG.
This season, they're missing him today.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, he had the syndesmosis injury last week and hurt his ankle, so yeah, they need him. But here's Heaney, who started up on the wing.
So what's the response from the Swans like? Heaney drove the ball inside 50. Well, not been a bit tardy. They just have been below par in a lot of their key areas.
They've been a bit cute with the ball. These tricky, windy conditions, they've turned the ball over. I think they might just try and straighten themselves up a bit in this second half.
So Naismith now against Cruiser. He did well there, Naismith. Won it down to Kennedy. He's trying to get the ball away by hand. There's a lot of players around the football inside 50 for the Swans. Here's Heaney. 2 possessions inside the first minute. Just off line. First score of the second half for the Swans.
That's good to see him pushed up, dewed up a little bit high, because he was all at sea in that first half of football, just the one disposal.
Yeah, he needs to be up around the footy just to get his hands on it, get his confidence back. Obviously, went to the knee full last weekend just to try and get his hands on the football, but he's actually really damaging as a midfielder.
We've seen Charlie Curnow's hands at work today. He has got a good set of hands. Cunningham went back with the fly to the footy, not easy. Plowman now runs onto the ball. A deep one for Casbolt. Grundy with him. Look at Heaney now inside defensive 50, so running hard. Jack bends down to pick it up, couldn't quite get it away to Smith.
Pressure again.
And the Blues lock it up as they've done for a lot of the game so far.
Yeah, they've been out tackling the Swans in their attacking mid and inside forward 50 area, so that's where their pressure's been putting on.
Ed Curnow into the bottom of that one and wasn't getting out of there, so the ball coming up again. Just a behind so far in this term. Swans bench. They'll need more from everyone. Cripps, brilliant. He got his hands free. Towers ran into the road. Hanbury had it and lost it from Kennedy. Now Wright's little ball forward, only as far as Smith, who just pops it up. Richards, great mark.
He's been really good, Tim, hasn't he? He's presented well. His hands have been very good.
He's been excellent. He has been excellent in finding those holes and presenting to the ball. And his pressure as a forward too has been outstanding.
Towers called Heaney out. Mills running now. It's a long ball down in the Rowan direction. Fingertipper got away from him. Like a catch out on the boundary, and he just couldn't pull it in.
They just stayed down on his haunches after this. Gary Rowan, he was devastated. He couldn't quite make the ground on that. The kick just travelled over his head. But they've got a chance at the stoppage now.
Cruiser was being hung on to by Naismith. Umpire didn't see it. There wasn't a lot in it. Parker, clever. Found space, got his shot away, but only a behind. So Sydney have started better here. The lead, 8 points at half-time, cut to 6 points.
Been really impressed by Carlton's work at stoppages. They've only won the scores from clearances differential 3 times this year. A great front half pressure there from Isaac Heaney.
I think he smothered that with his head.
It was a full stretch dive and puts it now another chance to go from the stoppage. But Carlton have been very well set up at these defensive stoppages.
Doherty was trying to get it out there, and Heaney just dived across the boot. Clearly has had to think about things at half-time. And Cruiser holding the ball. Dangerous place to be taking clean possession.
You can't take it out of the ruck. He's got to know that you're going to be under enormous heat. If you grab it out of the ruck, the Swans were certainly all over him there.
This is no gimme, though, on what we've seen so far. Difficult spot to be kicking a goal.
Yeah, the wind's right into his face at the moment. It's dropped a little bit, it looks like, if you look at the flags at the top, but it'll be a tough kick.
So Kieran Jackie spent some time off the ground during the second term, but the skipper on his own today, that's important, and the scores are level.
You can see all the Swans get around Kieran Jack there. He's coming off for a quick spell with a couple of other small forwards at the moment, but they need to get some momentum, a bit of energy. They've been out-hunted in that first half by the Blues, and certainly that was a really positive one because it came from pressure in their front half.
Well, you know John Longmire well. He wouldn't have been happy with that first half of footy.
No, exactly. To be outpointed the whole time. Here we see that diving pressure from Isaac Heaney that gave them the opportunity at the stoppage. And, of course, they tackled Cruiser out of the ruck.
So was with the fingertips, not with the head. Heaney making an impact at the start of this third term. Naismith, Mills just peeling off half-back. Kennedy out wide now. Hewitt, right, was chasing. Got his kick away. Franklin lurking. He got an important hand in there. Rowe. The footy just sat up for him and then back into his hands and up it will come. But the pressure has gone right up from the Sydney Swans here, Tim.
He puts you under pressure, Buddy, though, doesn't he? You look at his direct opponents, they're not quite sure if they play the ball still or they play Buddy, or they've got a foot in each camp.
Every clearance in this term, all 6 of them, the Sydney Swans way, and the chance to get in front here. Cripps gather the football. It's going to stay just inside. Hanbury did well. Back to Grundy, who goes goalward. Straightens up, it bounced away from Sinclair. Here's Buddy for his third. He won't miss it from there, never does. And the Swans are up by a goal.
Jude, that's all about athleticism. And you see it all the time with opponents of Buddy. And often they can hold him in a one-on-one duel, the ball high in the air. But it's just when there's a bumbling ball, he gets a break on you, and it's his ability to cover the ground so quickly as he did then.
Oh, he's a multifaceted player. His ability to work up the ground. He can work you under the ball, and obviously we know how speed and strong he is. Here you can see the tumbling ball in. It was just enough pressure, but he worked back so quickly, Buddy Franklin. They're a chance now to really put some heat on Carlton. They need to respond now.
They've certainly done that, Jude. 16 disposals in this third term for 2 goals, 17 disposals now, and down towards 50 again. That was important there. Big hand knocking the ball forward was Plowman. Heaney keep the Swans in their attacking zone again, and Hanbury to Rowan.
Heaney's had 4 this quarter already, just 1 in the first half, so he's come alive.
Rowan 4 goals last week. Only 2 disposals so far today. He's never out of the game for long. Doesn't need a lot. So outside 50.
He's hit that very well.
High ball, Richards again the flyer. Still alive in there. Carlton can't get it over the line, and the Swans will get another opportunity.
Already they're tackling it. We've seen it. It's been evident so far. 10 tackles to 4 in this third term. That's got them back into this game, and certainly their lead at the moment.
They're very close to the line for the Sydney Swans. The Blues want it over, and the Swans want to keep it in. A shot gone. Now Cruiser's knocked it the wrong way, really, and Cripps has run into trouble, so not sure about that. That was pretty ambitious from Cruiser down to Cripps. Trying to run it out rather than get it over the line, but it's, for the moment anyway, it's worked out okay. It was a big tackle, wasn't it? Rowan. Kennedy from Sinclair. Here's Heaney getting lots of the football. Parker left it behind. Goes in again against Wright.
It's all their stars really starting to drive this. As we see here, the tackle on Cripps here, that's just the pressure. Gary Rowan and the pressure that the Swans have come out in this second half. Heaney's obviously, someone spoke to him at half-time because he has come back out with a real intensity this second half.
Can he give a fierce spray, John Longmire, Jude?
Oh, he can give a big spray. Don't worry, that's why he covers his mouth in the box as well.
Sinclair, Rowan kept it in for a moment, but then it just wobbled away over the line. Well, it may well have been one of his best at half-time.
Well, certainly they'd be really disappointed. I mean, they've now stepped it up, and they need to keep the foot on the pedal against the Blues now.
Thank you.
What do the Blues need to do here, Tim? Is it just a case of wearing as much of the pressure as you can, try and lock down?
Well, they have to maintain the balance around the stoppages for a start. Their forwards have stayed at home here. They don't want free Sydney players behind the ball, but they've just got to be able to win something from here.
Heaney's getting his hands on the ball at will. Parker gave the footy away, though, to Sumner, who goes to Boakhurst. Back in the side for his first game since round 3 this year. Simpson, Phillips, Aaliyah read it well. But still it comes forward. Graham, nicely done. Handball out for Casbolt. So the Blues, now they'd love a goal here against the run of play right to Cripps. They set up again on half forward. They'll use Cruiser here in the middle of the ground. And wider still, Wiedering. Now Doherty, leading player Phillips. He took a couple over and has given away a free kick.
They all lost that in the sun there as they all led for that football, but certainly it's only been the second inside 50 for Carlton this quarter. The ball's been camped in the front half for the Swans because of that pressure that they've brought.
So Hanbury with a free kick. That's his view down the ground. He just pulls up short, but had a little bit too much on it for Mitchell. Cripps, tall man, good mark, and Graham again to set up. So again to the middle of the ground. Boakhurst didn't want it there. Wanted it where he was standing, which was vacant on the 50. Hewitt, good pressure, but Simpson's there. The Blues out of danger for the minute, and a good kick in for Cruiser. Couldn't mark. Armfield runs onto the ball. He's kicked one already. Brings it back. Top of the square. Kennedy in front. Good grab.
He was unlucky there, Cruiser. I thought he was out, arms stretched out. There was a fair bit of heat on him as he came out for that lead. It was a good kick from Simpson out in front. Just couldn't complete the mark.
So Grundy just floats one back. Smith's got the ball in the back pocket.
Move on, play on.
So it's been better from the Blues in the last couple of minutes, but haven't been able to get a score on the board. Wiedering. Handball missed the target. Mitchell. Papley. Brilliant handball. Kennedy, magnificent. Gave the ball to Lloyd. Now Rowan. Can he run onto the football? Taken out by Rowe. That was a crude tackle. And it will be Rowan's free kick right on the 50. Probably what Rowe had to do.
Yeah, it was a bit crude in the end there from Rowe, but that was a really good kick then from Sydney. That was Lloyd, wasn't it, that broke off half back then. There was nowhere else for him to go other than the space out in front of Rowan.
So Rowan likes his chances from there. Gave it a big ride, but just to the left-hand side of the goalpost. Sydney's lead now 7 points. 7-10. Carlton 7-3. And in this term, Carlton yet to score. The Swans 2 goals 3. They've done all the attacking, and Tui had the footy and then lost it, handballed straight over the line. So Sydney's pressure terrific. What a difference since half time.
And particularly front half pressure. That's where you get to set up behind the footy. It allows then Aaliyah, Grundy down the line. You can set your structure up if you get that front half pressure right.
Phillips interesting against Sinclair. A high ball back inside 50 in the Buddy direction. The kick came in from Towers, but well read by Wiedering. Short to Tui. Buckley couldn't mark. The ball was knocked away by Smith and over the line. So again, we're seeing Sydney now with their forward pressure at their very best.
Also, the kicking efficiency's dropped away from the Blues. It's certainly been under enormous heat. They're running a 56% disposal efficiency at the moment.
Heaney, the 5 disposals, just having a sit down for the moment. Phillips, the ball and kicked it towards half back.
Thanks, gents. I'll take it.
Dan Hanbury too, he's had plenty of the ball, but by foot he's going at 36% today. I've never seen him kick so poorly as he has today.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, there's been times it hasn't been unpressured at times. It's been out. It hasn't affected the kick properly. But you know, it just needs to keep getting the footy. He's an accumulator. He needs to keep linking up and keep working hard because they need him around those stoppages.
Sinclair played in the grand final for the West Coast Eagles last year, doing the ruck work against Phillips. Mitchell over the ball. Foot. Parker back to Foot. Gibbs somehow got the footy. And look at the tough tackling on him. Sinclair took him to ground, and the umpire will start it again.
It's even numbers either side, so you can get pure ball from this stoppage. Quick kick out of the stoppage, knowing full well that there's not an extra in your defensive 50.
Oh, that's against Cripps. I really like the way that Carlton are going about that. They're going head-to-head, and they're backing their midfielders against Sydney Swans midfielders, and we know how good they are.
Sinclair actually got the free kick there for a ruck infringement. Foot taken when maybe he didn't have the football. Gibbs now right. Tui's clearing kick, not a lot to go to. Goes a bit in hope towards the wing. Casbolt falling over, going backwards. Rampy. A little slow to get up was Charlie Curnow. Looks okay for the moment. Meantime, Lloyd now with the ball towards the middle of the ground. Rowan, so dangerous. If he can get a handle on it, White did well. Got a lucky bounce. And then handballs back into Wiedering. Inside defensive 50. It was risky. They get away with it.
Thank you. Yeah, go for it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Michael. You ready,
We just saw Charlie Curnow just on his right knee. Just came back across Casbolt as he fell down. And he's just gone off. We'll get an update from Welshie shortly.
It doesn't look good. How about this? Kennedy ran onto the ball. Now Hewitt. They're looking so dangerous. Great tackle from behind. That was brilliantly done by Simon White.
And the reason why Carlton aren't pushing their numbers up high into the forward half of Sydney is because they don't want Sydney to have those free players so they can organise themselves behind the ball. But the problem with that is it means you've got to go head-to-head with them even numbers.
Sinclair not quite the mark. Mills hugs the boundary line.
That's what happened against the West Coast Eagles last week. McGovern was able to sweep off halfback and set up so many forays forward for the Eagles against the Blues.
It was a much freer flowing game in the opening half. Here's the skipper, runs onto the ball, delivers, but just offline. So he looks so dangerous when he gets the footy.
It becomes more of a pure contest, it does, Basil, but as we saw then, it also means that you open up a stoppage at a dangerous part of the ground for Sydney.
Especially if you've had those extra numbers around there. Suddenly,
yeah, you can just shut it down a bit more.
Guys, Charlie Curnow's come off to the bench and he's walking down around the race with the doctor and physio. He grabbed his right knee, as we saw in the footage there. The doctor come over, he ran off and said he's okay. Took about 5 steps and turned around in immense pain. So they've taken him straight off and as you can see, they're walking down the race. Let's hope it's nothing serious. He's been super for the Blues so far this season. Real presence up forward. So hopefully nothing too serious there for Charlie Curnow.
6 disposals and a goal today, Welshie. And this is a really dangerous situation. Parker runs onto the ball, straightens up and kicks a very good goal. Well, we've talked about what a month he's had. He's been such a good player. Hawthorn 9 days ago here, 35 disposals, 19 contested possessions, 14 clearances. He's a Rolls Royce of the competition, and when he got the ball in space like that, you just knew with his efficiency and his poise, he was a huge chance to finish. And now the Swans, they lead by 14 points.
Well, here we see again from the stoppage. We've spoken about the structure from Carlton. It's been changed up now, and it's 5 scoring shots from this quarter alone from the Swans from stoppages. 2 goals, 3 after just the 3 behinds in the first half.
So, Jude, 3 goals, 4 to no score for the Sydney Swans in this term. They are dominating now, an 8-point deficit at halftime, a 14-point lead for the Sydney Swans. And I guess it's fair to say they flicked the switch during the break.
Yeah, they've really started to crack in at those stoppages. They're leading the clearances, their first possessions. They're +9 as well around there. And there you can see a bit of third man from Cripps.
So Gibbs, Aaliyah, just juggling the mark. Great recovery and got the handball away to Rampy. So played that really well. And Smith, his clearing ball out towards Foot. Kerridge right there with him. And over the line it goes. Geez, a likeable player, Aaliyah, isn't he? He's contest in the air, but then he's mop up on the ground.
He's really quick. He's a real loper. He doesn't look like he's travelling that fast, but he's got genuine speed. Just his decision making a couple of times today, which he needs to clean up. But the more he plays, the more experience he gets, the better he'll become at that too.
So Foot, he's had a good debut to Hanbury. That's a good mark by Rowe, jumping in front of the pack. Now he retreats here, back to Simpson, right on defensive 50. Parker, who kicked that last goal. So clean, manning the mark. Doherty runs away. Kick for Silvani was a really tough one. Lloyd, Richards, back to Lloyd. Short ball forward. Papley marks the Cunningham kick.
Move it on. Play on.
Just held up for the time being. He goes wide. Richards, who's been a really good target for the kick, not great, and Sumner just in front.
There's a poor kick there from Papley, but certainly the Swans have tightened up on Simpson and Doherty of that transition from their defensive 50, and they're putting a lot more pressure on as they're exiting the defensive 50.
Sumner down the line. Here's Aaliyah again at the back of the pack. Had the footy stolen from him. Now Gibbs. Cripps. They retreat. They've got a fair way to go backwards to get the ball moving forward again, but that was pretty well done. Doherty, Buckley, and now Rowe in the middle of the ground. Simpson sprinting by. There's no room to operate, so it's a wide one, a dangerous ball, and Rowan's in the area. It was over Wiedering's head. Well done by Rowan. He knows about that situation. Went in hard, and Kerridge is hurt. That was really hard at it by Rowan, and he might have won the day here. Richards back to Rowan. Well, persistence pays off. Buddy at the top of the goal square, and he's got his fourth. Well done, Rowan.
Well, that was terrific work by Gary Rowan. Just collided with Sam Kerridge, and he'll be coming off the ground with a sore left shoulder. He certainly just wore the brunt of that hard ball that he won. It was a 50-50 contest, and then the turnover footy, able to get that forward to Franklin. A super work, Gary Rowan.
You see Sam Kerridge come to the bench. Great attack again, Gary Rowan here. See the injury, grabs the left shoulder, Sam Kerridge, and he's come off to the bench right now. He's talking to the doctor and physio. They're just walking alongside him, so looks to be okay. But again, Gary Rowan attack on the footy, turn the ball over, up in their side there at forward 50 in the first quarter.
So Buddy Franklin gave up the lead in the Coleman race last week with a goalless game. Kennedy bursts away back in the Richards direction. Again, they're prepared to look for him, Tim. He's been a terrific target. Wiedering mopping up. Rowan again, very busy. Blues just desperate to get a stoppage or get it over the line. Simpson, no such luck. Jack comes hard at the ball, and now a stoppage.
The reason is that he leads so hard and straight at the player with the ball, so they can't ignore him. As we see, Kerry's just getting some attention there from the doctor and the physio. That was a hard knock.
Umpire is in the thick of that. Heaney, ball around the corner. Sinclair came with a big run at it, mopping up Curnow. Simpson. Boakhurst might have kicked that out of bounds on the full, so the pressure will stay on for the Blues.
Well, that's perceived pressure. They've put the work in at the start of this quarter, and then suddenly you get a ball like that where it probably could have just been a control kick down the line. In the end, just to kick it out on the full.
How different is this bloke been in the second half too, Isaac Heaney?
8 disposals now. It's a good kick, and Naismith almost came down with him. Simpson's ball. Not a great one. Defensive kick. Well done, Armfield. Runs away from Lloyd. Just threw the slipper into it. A bouncing ball inside 50. Rampy and Silvani. Rampy, that was clever. Used the boot across to Aaliyah. Got it back, and now Grundy has it.
That's enough. Thanks, Dane.
Oh, they're growing in confidence, the Swans. Foot close to the line, and well, he showed a little nous there, as well as the tackle taking him in that direction. He just angled the body that way. He knew the way to go was get the ball out. That was well done by the debutant, who's had a good afternoon, Jude.
Yeah, he's been really strong over the footy and made some really good decisions with the footy.
Curnow watched his brother go off with what may well be a pretty serious knee injury. Ed Curnow, last man to get up. He's also kicked a goal. 15 disposals, has tried hard. The Swans, though, now by 20 points. Cripps, Graham. Curnow again. Bouncing ball towards half forward. Not an easy one. Casbolt. Cripps followed up. That was well done. Handball not great. Hanbury got in the road. Here's Heaney, defensive end. Lloyd. Mills. Kick. Very dangerous. Got over the top of Mitchell. Simpson mops it up. Went looking for Silvani. Fisted away. And here he goes.
Richards.
Jake Lloyd. He got the ball across, and Richards has had 3 bounces. Gets to 50. Boakhurst. Great chase. Got him.
Super chase by Blaine Boakhurst, and now they get the go on turnover.
So Wiedering down the other end. Game's opened up now. Phillips not paid the mark. Well done, Aaliyah. Heaney, another disposal in this term, and eventually the ball over the line. Well, Xavier Richards, his eyes had lit up. He's had a wonderful game. He steadied to kick, and then Bokhurst got him.
He pinned the ears back here, just had to deliver that inside forward 50. He was a bit hesitant to get it on the boot.
Cruiser, right, ball was touched, so unlucky there for Casbold. He was in front. Again, Lloyd, he's been a very good player. They thread the ball back, work it through a few sets of hands. Aaliyah, Rampy, got it from Cunningham initially. Aaliyah, back to Mills. Rampy, the composed down back, but not that time. Lloyd, not found with the handball. So Buckley, back to Simpson, now Doherty. A long way from home and might be lucky to score there. It's just snuck in for a behind.
On the evidence alone of this third quarter, Jude, I think Sydney are going to have to be, well, they're going to be tempted with the idea of having to play Isaac Heaney a little bit further up the field, because he has become an outstanding player in this game now, purely because they've shifted him further up the ground.
Well, I think that's what the beauty of having Xavier Richards in there as another target, because that's why they had to keep him inside forward 50. They needed that aerial strength, but Richards has been good today.
Good mark by Naismith and a really good kick to Rowan, who wants to get the ball over the top and does now. So Heaney, what a term he's having outside 50, just pops it up. Not quite the mark. Hewitt and Curnow, good running to get down deep into defence. Handball for Simpson. Again, the little pop-up kick and Armfield. Mills has given away 50.
That's 50 every day of the week. It was a bit silly by Mills. Just knew he was going to get there, touched late, didn't need to send him to the ground.
Well, despite all the scoring against them, just one behind Carlton, Sydney 4-4. They can kick a goal here. It's only a 13-point gap, and they steady down and reset. They're not out of it. It's a high ball back towards full forward. Casbolt, right. Sumner, he got a free man. Silvani, well unlucky, not paid the mark, but free kick. High contact.
The tackle needs to be legal, and it wasn't.
Good decision by the umpire. It still had to be a legal tackle, whether he dropped his body or not. That was close to 15 metres there too. That first arm in the tackle there, just his left arm just went over his shoulder. I mean, it's clearly a free kick to Silvani.
John Longmire not happy up in the box with that decision.
So Jack Silvani, just his fourth disposal today. He's kicked 2 goals in his 3-game career. This to make it 13 points in the Blues. They're not going away yet.
Well, that was a young player who just sensed the initial reckless tackle from Lloyd. He felt the hand over the shoulder. He was able to sink at the hips, draw contact. The modern player is just so good at assessing that. And he was able to just get that free kick, but it was a reckless tackle. Just as the umpire had mentioned, is still the onus on the tackler to make an effective tackle. Here we see young Jack Silvani going back, putting the margin back to 13 points. And they're all getting stuck into him about drawing that free kick, but the free kick was there over the shoulder from Lloyd.
So the Blues' first goal of the term at the 27-minute mark, and Jude, as you quite rightly say, 13 points, so it's still close enough. The Blues, well done by Jack, ball forward, but not a great kick.
He's having a terrific year, Sam Doherty.
It was a good mark, wasn't it? So gives it to Gibbs, now down to Bokhurst. We've seen him in action at both ends of the ground. Aaliyah, Bokhurst, they both went one-handed. They were both trying to do the same thing. Smith got Bokhurst, but he was over the line. And it stays at Carlton's end of the ground.
We spoke a lot in this third quarter about Swans' pressure and how it really has lifted. But the Blues, they're still right in this. They just need a couple of little things to go their way. It's going to set up a great last quarter.
They're quite right. Well, they've absorbed all that pressure, and really the Swans could have done more. 4-4, very handy term as it is for John Longmire's men. Carlton just 1-1, but another goal here, and Sydney certainly won't think they got full value for effort in that third term. Swans by 13 points. Less than 2 minutes to play now. Right, quick kick. Sumner, close to the line, retreats backwards to Gibbs. High ball inside 50. Casbolt in front of Grundy. Marks can make it. Only a 7-point ball game.
This will be his first kick for the day, and that was his first mark, Levi Casbolt. He's had the 6 handballs today, but they were able to drive it long. We know how dominant he is in the air. He was able to push off Grundy and come back at the football. Just good strength in that body contest.
That's really good play by Jack Silvani behind that, though, just to keep Rampy out of that contest, becoming that third man up.
So Levi Casbolt kicking for goal, not always his forte, but he's banged it through, and we have got a ball game on our hands at the SCG. Sydney by 7 points.
That's a great response by Carlton. I mean, it shows a level of maturity about the players and adherence to the game plan. They've stuck to what they know makes them a competitive side. They don't go outside those guidelines. And this bloke hasn't had the greatest afternoon, but he straightens them up. He's that get-out type player, and when he can get that one-on-one contest, he's such a strong player, such a strong body player. He has a good pair of hands as well. Never, ever looked like missing.
It's his 13th goal for the season, a lucky one. Not a lucky finish, but 13 lucky for him, and Naismith caught for holding the ball. So less than a minute to go. Could they get another one here, the Blues? Cripps, he wastes no time, bangs it long, big fist on it by Rowan, back towards the line, finds the boundary line. They'll reset with 46 seconds on the clock.
That's the big move, isn't it? Rowan goes back, he becomes that spare player just to hold things together for the last minute or so of the quarters, or when they're under pressure.
Cripps again, third man up so often. Cunningham got it from Kennedy. They're not out of it yet. White sends it back inside. Probably need a mark here, the Blues, almost. And Mills is hurt. Well, Mills looks in a lot of pain at the back of this contest. Play goes on. Now a whistle.
Yeah, he sat under that high ball, Callum Mills. Just collected contact in the air as he over the top. Actually just wore the footy. That's all it was. There was no contact in the air whatsoever.
Still time for the Blues. Brilliant. Gibbs down to Cripps. Touch ball, the call. And Rowan, there is that spare man. The ball ricochets back to Mills. Now Rampy, handball over the top. Grundy, 12 seconds left on the clock. Have Sydney got time to run it to the other end? Tui in the road. Back to Doherty. Great game, great season. And now White gives the ball back to Tui on the siren. Well, we are set up for a terrific finish. Sydney still with a lot of work to do in this game. 4-4 in that term, much better from the Swans. Carlton answered with a couple of goals late. 2-1 to them. 9-11, 9-4. Sydney by 7 points with a quarter to play on Saturday afternoon footy. Been a great game. Buddy's kicked 4. Xavier Richards has a couple, 9 individual goal scorers for Carlton. And at three-quarter time, after the Blues led by 3 points at the first change, 8 points at half-time, it is Sydney by 7 points. Game well and truly set up. Welshie's with Stuart Dew.
Well, Stewie, the tackling pressure was a lot better that quarter and really got some forward thrust going.
Yeah, and it wasn't pretty. I think we talked about our ball use early in the first half. But some good response. You know, Isaac one touch at halftime, come out and had 10. So on the back of Heaney and Rowan, we got going.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Saw Horse was very vocal there at three-quarter time. What was the main message?
I think we're really disappointed with the last 2 goals. Nothing we can do about it now. But certainly we have more scoring shots, but they're playing really hard. Carlton, if we give them a look, they'll make us pay. We've got to bounce back.
Like in the last quarter.
Thanks, Welshie. Well, it really is set up, isn't it? Isaac Heaney, well, one of the stars for the Swans, one of their movers, wasn't he, in that transformation from half-time. But again, the response from the Blues, enough encouragement there to tell them they're right in this.
Well, they were dominated inside 50s for that first part of that third quarter, 13-4 inside 50s, and the Swans had kicked 3 goals, 4 from it, but they fought back through pressure. They came through Cripps, Gibbs, Simpson and Doherty.
So start of the final term, and again on their home deck, the Swans being challenged. Sydney's lead 7 points against the Blues, who've shown tremendous fight, and after giving up the lead in the third term, kicked the last 2 goals to get it back to just over a goal. And the way they've played, Tim, they're right in this game.
And I think that any Carlton fan would be happy to hear what Stewie, you had to say then, and that is that they've become a hard side to play against Carlton.
They haven't lost 3 in a row, the Sydney Swans, since round 22, 2009. That is a long time ago, and Carlton haven't beaten Sydney since round 13, 2011. So a lot of things in Sydney's favour, but the Blues' doggedness has been a great feature. Man on the right, enjoying the development of his young players. Phillips is one of them. Gibbs, a more established star, gets the ball moving forward. That was clever by Buckley, just hacked it out of mid-air. Cruiser, Aaliyah, he reads it well. Kennedy, now Lloyd. The kick to the middle of the ground is a good one. Rowan onto the end of the Towers kick. Rowan plays on quickly, pops it up. Buddy was going in one direction and Kieran Jack coming the other, and Jack gets his hands on the football. But just pops it up again. Buddy, I think, was the target. He was just drifting off the back. It was a 3-quarter ball, and the champ looks back, didn't quite like it where it was, Jude.
Well, he was filthy with Kieran Jack. He had the mismatch with Cade Simpson. He was calling for it early, and Kieran Jack just didn't identify that quick enough and didn't kick it to advantage.
So Simpson, handy work in the goal square, comes back broadcast side. Lloyd in best position, didn't get that far, and Naismith now Rampy with it. He got it from Lloyd, who got it from Jack. High ball, Hewitt fisting the ball over the line.
I think this last quarter and Carlton's chances of winning this game is all about the stoppages. It's about Gibbs' ability to get his hands on the ball. Cripps, what can they initiate from these set plays?
Naismith and Phillips. Curnow been terrific today. Here's Simpson. Just drives the ball down towards half forward after he got it from right. Sumner did cleverly. Casbolt had a man on, but he ran backwards. Right again, Gibbs. I'll set up again through Doherty, who has been terrific, Jude.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He's been such a prominent player for them all season. His ability to link up and run and set up the forays forward for Carlton, and certainly he's been doing that today.
Out in the sunshine, Rowe. Plowman. Now Curnow. Still inside defensive 50. The switch might be on again here, so Simpson's going to have to go. He's in best position. Kennedy, he sensed the danger, got his big body up in front, almost took the mark and keeps going. Gets the ball from Papley down towards the pocket. Don't count Buddy out yet. Now he's over the line.
They did the hard bit of work then, Carlton. They actually spread Sydney, and then they opened up the corridor, but Jack Silvani actually made a really good lead from half forward up to the centre of the ground, but he wasn't seen.
Naismith just double-handed down to Phillips in the end. Here's Kennedy, brilliant a moment ago. Now Hewitt went to go on the right, back on the left, pops it up high. Parker back with a fly to the footy. Takes a very good mark. He's had a great afternoon. This will be disposal number 21 and a chance to kick his second goal.
Yeah, well, we highlighted him in the pre-game. He's just has such a wonderful last month of footy, particularly. He's had a great season as well, and he's very dangerous overhead, Luke Parker. It was a great decision by George Hewitt not to just wheel around on the right. He cut back in and got that to a dangerous position.
For his 16th goal of the season, he threads it through. A little bit of breathing space now. They're out by 14 points, the Swans.
As you mentioned, Parker's now up to 21 disposals. He's kicked 2 goals, 1. He's had 8 contested possessions and 8 tackles, so he loves to work both sides of the football. He puts enormous pressure on the opposition, and he's having a terrific season. But this is, as you mentioned, Tim, the work around the stoppage is going to be so critical to this outcome in the last term.
Well, he's a midfielder, but he kicks goals, Parker, and their midfield runs so deep. If it's not him that's getting you, it's Kennedy, or it's Hanbury, it's Mitchell, it's Jack. hard to hold sway in the midfield against this Sydney Swans defence.
Swans by 14 points. 5 minutes gone. Final turn. Well done, Phillips. Had the ball in his hands, then lost it, but kept it moving forward. Kerridge back out there. That's great to see because he went down after a very strong attack on the footy and the man actually by Gary Rowan, all fair, but good to see him back out there.
Carlton actually started 2 extras in the defence. Then they had Doherty as the loose man, but also Buckley off the back of the square to try and join in the centre square.
Sinclair and Phillips again. Phillips with the second touch on the ball. Kennedy trying to find it at his feet. Blues get a few players around the footy and just tie it up again.
Charlie Curnow left the ground in that third quarter with after Levi Casbolt fell across his knee. I saw him walking back around the boundary line at 3/4 time. He looked okay. He hasn't come back on the ground, but it didn't look as serious as what it first did.
Fingers crossed for him. Gibbs sent the ball in. Boakhurst after Grundy spilt the mark. Curnow throws it onto the boot quickly. It might have enough carry. It has. There's 2 for Ed. We're back to an 8-point ball game.
What a terrific finish by Ed Curnow. Just the ability to put that high into a little bit of breeze here at the SCG. It was just a quality finish in congestion. And with the margin back to 14 points, they need to keep pushing here and keep putting enormous pressure in out of the middle particularly.
Well, they finished really strongly last week against the West Coast Eagles. It's a scrappy goal. It really came out of nowhere. But Curnow, as Jude said, he just kicked it up in the air and he let the wind and the breeze do the rest.
20 disposals and 2 goals now for Ed Curnow, and that's the little bit of luck that they're going to need. But again, White, Tui, Phillips, they drive the ball forward. They've been fantastic today, the Blues. Silvani the target. Casbolt waiting down. Handball for Kerridge. Now, they've been able to kick goals from out there today. Both sides, Wright, Armfield, Casbolt.
He did really well, Jack Silvani, just to get that spoil on it. Would have been an uncontested mark in their forward 50. And here's Charlie Curnow on screen with the right knee heavily iced after Casbolt fell across it early on in the third term.
So plenty of ice on there. Toby is okay, nothing serious. Levi Casbolt back in after suspension, his 10th disposal. He's kicked 1 already from 55. And that's a disappointing effort. It's going out of bounds on the full. It's got to at least stay in the field of play, doesn't it, for the Blues?
Well, these windy conditions play havoc with a high ball drop, don't they, Tim? So just it's always going to be a tough day, kick for goal for Levi Casbolt.
So Lear with that free kick. It's his view. It's pretty crowded. Casbolt almost the mark. Kennedy handball towards the line, which was clever, and Kerridge making sure it goes out. The Blues will count that. It's a bit of a win for them. So
still
10-4,
carrying that arm,
10-12.
Sorry, Baz, I was just looking at Kerridge and we know that he had that heavy bump with Rowan. He still looks like he's carrying that left arm.
It's a gutsy effort to be out there. Cripps, we've seen him do that so many times. Right, Curnow back inside 50. Was over Lear's head. Now Silvani in there, fighting hard. And up it will come.
Yeah, Tim, just on Kerridge, I've heard Brendan Bolton speak during the week about a number of young players had to start playing through injury. So you wonder if this is a bit of a message to stay out there and keep working and developing yourself and playing through injury.
Sinclair threw that out, taken by Lloyd. Back towards defensive 50. Rowan had a hand up in front. Kerridge with that one hand only. Right, fighting hard for the ball. It's still alive. Lloyd again. Clearing ball. Franklin with him Rowe. White arrives to make it a 2-on-1. Wiedering now, taken in a tackle, endeavouring to handball. Hewitt, brilliant. Won the ball out. Now Mitchell. Simpson was fantastic. Left his man, went into Mitchell, wins it back for the Blues. White from Wiedering. Now close to the line. Ball coming in again. Down and deep. The kick in from Plowman. Silvani. And over the line. They continue to attack the Blues.
Terrific work by Kade Simpson. He assessed when the opportunity was to go and make that tackle. And the Swans player, I think it was Mitchell, coming out of that congestion, took a bounce. His eyes were down. That was the moment to go forward, put pressure on.
So now it's the Swans absorbing all the pressure. Sydney, this younger version under the pump. Curnow again, back towards the line. Rampy's kept it in and might be able to run it out here. He had nothing to go to, so this will be interesting. It's going to stay inside, or will it stay inside? Does he let it stay in? He did, Tui. Maybe it would have been better to let it roll out. No time to waste. Doherty short, and Kerridge.
It's got a loose fat side.
This continues to battle on. Well, how about this? Right all on his own. Wanted to mark and run in there. Grundy got back and forced enough doubt in Wright's mind. The ball over the line.
Terrific work by Heath Grundy. Wright had slipped down behind the congestion on the fat side. He just got enough of a look at it to work hard back, and that's how good this Heath Grundy is. It's just the ability to work back in defence.
Still 8 points, still under the pump. Hanbury got the ball from Papley, drives the ball towards the boundary line, and Rowan takes off. Left the footy behind. Just as well for the Blues.
So that's been an impressive part of Carlton's game today. Even when they've lost the ball, and they've given the ball up a number of times, and they do because they don't execute as well as some of the top teams. But it's just been their ability to, or their desire to want to work back and win the ball back as quickly as they can. That's what's kept them in the game.
Curnow's been terrific. That's a good tackle by Mitchell. Got him to ground, dispossessed him. Kennedy.
The Blues are going to be happy with these stoppage after stoppage. They're leading the clearances 41-39 so far in this game. It's just that first touch out of these stoppages which is crucial for them. It's clean and can open up the game going forward.
Goal apiece in this final term, and Sinclair, is it, or Towers with the free kick? I think it's Towers. Goes and gets the footy. They've absorbed a lot of pressure there. Now it's the Blues' turn. Got a hold up here. High ball in. Buddy got a good run at it. Brilliantly roved by Kennedy. Didn't have enough on it. Ricochets back his way. Jack. Kennedy's got his hands on it. He's wrapped up by Wright. Simpson there too. And it's a free kick for holding the ball.
Yeah, he just went to ground after he followed up that kick, Josh Kennedy, and he's been pinged for dragging that back in. And once he went to ground, he was trying to grab possession of the football, and Simpson just swamped him.
Well, a couple of big plays by Simpson in this final term already, and now out wider to Wright. Wiedering kept running. Handball up the line to Kerridge. Shown a lot of courage, as we said. The kick not great. It went over Aaliyah's head also after going after Boakhurst. Graham stands in the road, wants a free kick and gets it.
Carlton.
Good from Graham, ran straight at that ball.
Another disposal for Doherty, number 23, running away from Heaney. Heaney's there now and gets him.
Holding the ball, Sydney. Thank you.
That was a great chase and tackle there by Heaney. But I think Doherty then, he just had to take what was on offer. He wanted to get something a little bit longer and a bit deeper, but he just had to just drop the ball off a little bit shorter there to Phillips.
So Heaney down the ground. He went to Parker. Parker just holding his quad there for a moment. Think he's okay. Here's Wright. Squares the ball up.
Thanks. Stay out, please, here.
It's only Jack Silvani by himself inside forward 50 at the moment.
That's the way the ball goes against Rampy, and Aaliyah, not quite the fingertipper. So Boakhurst, he's kicked a very clever goal already, as has this man. He's kicked a couple of them. High ball, Armfield the man to go. Mills was there. Now Grundy, Jack, back to Mills. They've worked it okay. Is there enough depth on this kick? Awkward bouncing ball. Richards has played well today. Lloyd hands clean, but the kick not so good. And again, Doherty to set them up.
Thank you. Well, you might do.
On half forward, high ball in the Phillips direction. Big fly at the back. No mark by Rampy. Here's Aaliyah. Mitchell trying to get through the gap. White got him. Tackle. Didn't hold him up. Towers gives it away. Back to Wright. Inside 50. 35 metres and closing. Just offline.
Having a big last quarter, right? So too is Curnow. They're still coming. The Carlton side, they just need that finish, that little bit of polish on all their other aggressive and inside work.
Stay behind him. Stay behind.
Inside 50s. In this term, 9-3 in favour of the Blues for 1 goal, 1 each. So they haven't had the result on the scoreboard. Towers again now. Handball down the line and then out of bounds. In fact, it may have been out of bounds when Towers handballed the ball. So again, they get a chance to set up. Well, so much to like about the Blues' tenacity in this game, and particularly in the latter stage of that third term and in the going so far in this final quarter.
Their hunt, their intensity's been fantastic. They've just got to capitalise with some polish.
Curnow to right to Gibbs, who breaks through. Gibbs to make it a one-point ball game. Silvani was at the top of the square, handballed over the line. Umpire says no worries with that one from Mills.
Was he under pressure, Tim, or not?
I think he was under pressure. He was definitely under pressure, but then a lot of people thought that Ferrero was under pressure too.
Well, I tell you what, Sydney are under pressure.
Move it on. Play on.
Jake Lloyd to himself. Had nothing really to go to. If they can get out here, it'll be a huge win for the Swans. Ball's on the deck. Well done by the big ruckman, Naismith, and then handballed forward in the Buddy Franklin direction. He gives it up to Mitchell. Back to Heaney. They've worked it well, the Swans. Down the line. Target is Richards. Just rolls away from him. Plowman right there with him.
They'd like to take it just a stoppage here, just to get reassessed. They've got to maintain their forward line, get some structure forward of the football as well, just so it doesn't get rebounded quickly by the Carlton defence.
Carlton have lost their last 5 games in a row this season, yet they trail Sydney on their own deck by just a goal. Kennedy back towards full forward, and well done by Plowman. He got something on the ball. Behind, back to 7 points.
It's just those star Sydney players that you've got to be able to contain and maintain, you know, for the full distance of each quarter. Already we've seen Parker kick a goal. Kendy's had a couple of important touches. Buddy Franklin obviously is still out there.
Mills almost. No mark. Papley. Handballed forward. Lear got in the road. Plowman again. And now Heaney got out of the first tackle. White made the tackle stick the second time. Tui. Backwards he goes. They've done that nicely. Sumner, Armfield, Wright, who has had a huge last term. Out in space, Boakhurst and Smith. Boakhurst in not a bad position here, but Smith's played it so well. Brilliantly done. Now he needs to be careful. Boakhurst comes over the top, gets a hand on there, and that'll do Smith.
Did really well, Nick Smith there. Under pressure, Boakhurst was wearing him like a glove, but he's been so experienced across his whole career at just being able to absorb that pressure.
There we see Josh Kennedy coming off as well. 31st game today where he's got 20-plus contested possessions. Such a workhorse inside for the Swans.
Now Parker is caught for holding the ball here.
Good decision by the umpire. He took him on.
Thank you.
Just need to organise a target forward of the footy now.
Right, he has had a real influence over this last term. It's a dangerous kick. Phillips might get a free kick. Grundy is paid the mark, and Aaliyah is hurt at the back of that contest. And now the umpire, quite rightly, stops play. Umpire Du Bois just waiting for Aaliyah to be assessed here.
Well, the physio Matt Cameron's out there just talking to him. He still hasn't got off the deck. As we see the replay there, he had plenty of the jumper of Phillips, but then he just got collapsed under the weight of Phillips. So hopefully his legs are up.
Did he cop one in the head on the way through from his Sydney teammate?
So he's up on his feet, which is great. Was it a free kick?
He had plenty of the jumper there in that marking contest.
Cunningham short. Lloyd, who's been good, running out of the back pocket. He's had a terrific game this afternoon. This is disposal number 25. Really liked his game. Drives the ball now in the Rowan direction. Did well. Pushed off Wiedering, but then just lost the footy. And Simpson comes through in the other direction. Doherty, handball back for Gibbs. Weaves through the traffic from 51 metres to put it back to within a goal. As it is 6 points exactly.
Really, Carlton said again, that's a hit to the back of the head there from Heath Grundy as he flew through there to Aaliyah. But I mean, Carlton really are getting better looks at scoring opportunities in this last quarter than Sydney, but they're just not able to finish it off.
Jordan Foote, terrific. 9 disposals on debut, and that was a very good mark, and the ball fisted forward again. So Sydney, just pressure stays, and the Blues a chance to set up again.
Just that last kick, Basil, that last kick that could go to a teammate. They've just blazed away a little bit, Carlton. They need to lower their eyes, just see if they can't drop something short into some space.
What an absorbing final term it's been. Carlton 1-3, Sydney 1-2. And Jack gets the ball out of the danger zone. Inside 50s, 12-5 in favour of the Blues. And that was a really strong and important mark from Plowman. So again, back towards the 50. Grundy fisting away from Casbolt. Right. Hard at the football. Claiming a high tackle. Now he might be in trouble.
Holding the ball. Go through. Go through.
Jude, also the fact that Sydney have lost a couple of tight games, that must be starting to play on their minds, the players.
The fact that it was only it was Thursday last week here at this ground against the Hawks, they would have played over so many scenarios, watched and analysed that finish to the game. They need to execute and stand up under this pressure in this last few minutes.
I think the difference here, Tim, is they may not have expected to be this close with Carlton this late in the game. Those others, sure, but I think they've been stunned by the fact that they just haven't been able to shake the Blues.
That's true, but this is going to get down to being able to execute the critical moments too.
Parker, Hanbury, long ball. What a good mark it was. He's had a terrific game. And again, the pressure of the Blues. Doherty to Simpson. And they're out here. If Tui can hang on to it, he couldn't. It just rolled off the fingertips. And Rowan's pressure was superb.
There are those degrees of execution that you've got to be able to perform under pressure at a critical stage of the game. Hit those targets coming off halfback.
Towers up in front, well read by Graham. Simpson has been outstanding today. That's disposal number 30. Curnow's been very good as well. Disposal number 25. Armfield hard at it. And the ball over the line. Welshie down below. Aliir, any news on him?
No, he looks to be okay. He's getting a massage at the moment, as you can see on screen there. Spent a bit of time with the doctors, but looks to be okay. He's been super down in defence today, and they need to get him back out there as soon as possible.
So just over 5 minutes remaining. Parker went up down to Kennedy. That was clever. Really good. And then Lloyd, another disposal. Number 27, Buddy Franklin. One out with Rowe, and Rowe, after Buddy spilt the mark, played it well.
Kennedy's just come off after come back onto the ground after a spell too, so he's fresh to go. Heaney's just came back onto the ground at the same time as Kennedy, so they've got two fresh, good, energetic players now around the ball, Sydney.
Ball thrown in. Graham has got his arm free to Gibbs, who hasn't stopped trying this afternoon. He sends the ball towards the boundary line and over. And in it will come in front of the Sydney Swans dugout.
A couple of those kicks down the line. They haven't been spinning correctly. They haven't been kicked to advantage. They just need to put one to advantage and be able to just transfer forward to the footy.
So 10-13 Sydney. Carlton 10-7. Just a wonderful game on this Saturday afternoon. Kennedy to the debutant foot. Back to Kennedy off the side of the boot. Off the side of the foot.
This is their opportunity now. They've got to be brave with the football. The wind's died down a little bit here at the SCG. They'll be able to use it.
So White short to Curnow. And takes off immediately. He knows that's the order of the day. It's a really dangerous kick. Papley, Kerridge. Papley kept his feet and the footy in his area. Now Jack from 35 metres out. Important kick from the skipper. Offline. It's a 7-point ball game.
You want them to be brave with the ball, Jude, but you don't want to be stupid with the ball. I mean, that part of the ground, a diagonal kick, hung in the air too long, and they were lucky that they weren't forced to pay the ultimate price.
What a kick from Simpson to Wiedering. Silvani, big moment for him. His follow-up outstanding. The 18-year-old, look at him go. Releases Doherty. Still they come, the Blues. Not a lot to kick to. Grundy now needs to play this coolly. Goes back to Smith. Swings the ball around the corner quickly. Maybe had more time. Mitchell clever. Off to Jack. Down towards half forward. Richards pushed off it this time. Wiedering did well. Richards kept coming. Wiedering kept going. Fantastic. Well played. And Curnow gets the ball on his chest.
You project that out a couple of years' time, you'll see how good Wiedering he'll be.
He's a super young talent, isn't he?
Curnow to Cruiser. How fantastic they've been, these Blues. Less than 3.5 to play. That kick not good, and Mills just in the road and signalling now that maybe they take a little bit of time off the clock.
That's exactly right. They need to manage the clock. Obviously 3 minutes, 10 left. Here you can see just a chip backwards. Going to try and mop a little bit, absorb a bit of heat, just take a little bit of the sting out of the game.
That's good from Carlton, though. They pushed up to all those spare players behind the ball.
And Mills had no one free, and well done. That's a great win for the Blues. Cruiser, Kerridge, Graham, Cruiser needed to get rid of it.
Good
did
hands.
so. Armfield, Doherty, he's played so well, ran into a brick wall.
High contact, bumped him in the head. That's enough. Hey, I'm blind.
Too high, the umpire says.
Blind. Just, hey, wait. Mark's here.
High contact.
So Naismith coming the other way, tried to bump, not tackle, ball quickly. Casbolt, surely a free kick, pulled down by Grundy, no free. And Grundy just walks the ball over the line.
So that will be an interesting replay, that bump, whether or not Naismith did get him high. You elect to bump and you make contact with somebody's head. It doesn't matter whether the contact starts there or it ends there. It's just the act of bumping. But I just don't think he made any high contact there at all.
He just tried to meet him with force.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
It didn't look like there was much there. Tim Cripps, Gibbs, Simpson, a high ball. That's disposal number 31. No mark, so still they're under pressure, the Sydney Swans. The Blues just keep coming. Cripps wins the footy. He goes backwards. Plowman. Now Simpson. Forwards again. They need a mark. Lloyd pulled off the footy, no free. Hanbury, it rolls towards the line. Kennedy got it across to Parker. Clearing ball is out of bounds on the full.
This is where they've got to get it in quickly. Be effective with the footy in hand. All the numbers are back for the Swans.
Less than 2 minutes to play. They need at least 2 scores, almost. It was knocked away in the end from Casbolt. Well done, Hewitt. Kennedy. Jack goes to ground. Gets back on his feet and just drives the ball into vacant territory. Should work out okay for the Blues. Doherty comes. Forward he goes. Brilliant kick to Simpson. They will not stop Carlton. High ball in. Gibbs at the back. Couldn't quite get there. Cripps in front. Gibbs has got the footy. Now it rolls out the back. Stoppage coming. Whistle. 7 points Sydney's lead. 1:22 to play.
This is where you get your best clearance of ball play around it. Cripps is there. Get his hands in the footy.
Too exhausted to jump, Cripps. He's been enormous today. Ball comes out Armfield's way. Close to the line again. Clock will stop again. 1 minute and 15. Sydney's lead, 7 points.
You can see the numbers that the Swans have folded back. They're trying to close up. So there's no gaps for Carlton to slice through.
Players are absolutely exhausted now from both teams. Brilliantly done. Cruiser to Gibbs. Couldn't get it away. And Kerridge at the back. You can see that arm still sore, but throwing himself at everything. 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining. So can they jag a goal here? Gibbs, Buckley, huge kick. Back towards the line. It's a behind, and it makes it really interesting. So the draw well and truly in play. 58 seconds left on the clock.
What's the play here, Jude?
Well, Rampy's a very prodigious kick, so he'll go long as possible now.
Rampy does. Sinks the slipper into it. Carlton trying to lock it in. Can they get it out? A quick kick forward. Richards had a hand in there. Papley was important. Now White. He knows Buddy's bearing down. Played it okay. Back to Tui. They concede ground and Doherty. So 38 seconds to run it to the other end of the ground. Only a goal to get them a draw. A behind will not be enough. Curnow on defensive 50.
Got to go up the middle.
Clock is at 28 seconds and Mills takes a very important mark. Plays on quickly. Now maybe Heaney will slow things down.
Not 15.
Called to go by the umpire. Not the required journey. Lloyd plays on quickly back to Mills. 8 seconds and counting. They've been so brave, the Blues. It'll be 6 losses in a row, and Sydney will get their 12th win, but they knew they were in a fight today.
So they finally won a close one, the Sydney Swans, but didn't they have to work all the way to the line? 10-14, 74 the Swans, and Carlton so gallant. 10-8-68 they made the start. It was the third quarter where the Swans were dominant, kicking 4 goals to 2. But even then, those late couple of goals from the Blues gave them the opportunity, and it was just only 1 goal the Swans were able to kick in that final term. So more coming up from the SCG as the Swans hold on to win a crucial game against Carlton. If they drop that, they would have certainly put the real pressure on them in the run to the finals as far as the top 4 and maybe the top 2 is concerned. But they've got the 4 points. Carlton, despite their performances, now 6 losses in a row. Next, of course, we head to Perth, and look at that. That's not what we're expecting in Perth, but that's what we've got for West Coast and Melbourne. Well, it was hard going, wasn't it, for the Sydney Swans, but despite the best efforts of the Blues and all that work from guys like Gibbs and Cripps, who were sensational in the middle, 34 to Simpson coming out of defence, they couldn't quite get over the line. The Swans get that valuable 4 points, and they've been able to hang on a very big Saturday afternoon. The Sydney Swans getting the points against Carlton, who've now lost 6 in a row, despite really having a crack this afternoon. They started really well. They led, in fact, by 8 points at half-time, 7-3 to 5-7. But the Swans got going in the third quarter. Looked like they were going to run away with it, but in a very low-scoring last quarter, just 2 goals to 1, it was the Swans 10-14-74. Curnow's second goal was the last goal of the game, and they just couldn't get another one on the board. 10-8-68. Kennedy was unbelievable. 35 disposals, 23 contested possessions, 12 clearances for Josh Kennedy, and he was one of the main reasons they were able to get over the line. All right, more coming up, hopefully, from the SCG, but let's turn our attention now to what's coming up.
Goal to Jeff Garlett. 3. His third. He's been the key forward for the Demons on a wet afternoon in Perth. Kent trying to work it out of the middle. Tyson. And it's going to be a free kick to Melbourne. Today's game, it's 11th playing 6th. It's all to play for West Coast. They're trying to put pressure on the top 4. At the moment, Melbourne just controlling the game. Cripps after it. Jetta wrapped up by Nelson. There's an important 4 points on the line.
Free kick count, 16-10 in favour of the D's. It's rare that the Eagles don't win the better of the free kick count at home.
Giles the hit out. Shuey dispossessed in the tackle by Stretch. It just lingered a little. He's going to get a free kick for being held on to.
Yep.
Stretch not to know that the ball had been jarred loose. West Coast need to respond. Shuey, one kick to half forward, Darling up. Flicked over the back, Kennedy grabbed it, trapped it, spun quickly, needs a clever bounce, and he gets the friendly roll. Something from nothing for West Coast. Kennedy with a bit of magic.
Certainly need that, the West Coast Eagles, against the run of play. See Josh Kennedy do this quite a bit to him. They snap across the shoulder.
Yeah,
see the contest. Jack Darling a bit sore there. Max Gawn crashed heavily. May have copped a bit of a whack in the backside is what Buddicky reached for, but pretty heavy clash. See big Maxi Gawn, he's a big man. Clash of hips, but a nice finish here by Kennedy over the shoulder. We often see him do this every week. Desperately needed that because they've looked lacklustre the last 10 minutes, the Eagles.
And Josh Kennedy takes the outright lead in the Coleman medal.
He's had a quiet day, but has kicked the 3 goals from 4 possessions.
Lysett trying to use his body strength in the middle of the ground. It's a good tackle. Get a ball up again inside the centre circle as Brayshaw picks himself up.
This way. Right out here. Hold that there, guys.
Margin back to 6 points. Nelson wrapped up by Gawn, and yet another stoppage.
Easy. Scott, hold that meter.
It's been a tough contest all afternoon. Melbourne been playing well. Massive tackle that from Kennedy. Melbourne still come away with it though. Brayshaw thought about giving it to Kent, goes longer instead. Watts, Dawes out the back.
Unforgivable that. West Coast Eagles had a spare defender. It was Eric McKenzie, got lost in the play, was caught in between, and Dawes was able to stay the deepest man and come over the top and take that mark. Haven't had a loose defender all day, the Eagles. I think Jesse Hogan has gone to the bench, so McKenzie needed to influence that and was unable to. This will hurt if Dawes kicks this goal.
Already kicked one this afternoon. I think just his 5th game for the season. West Coast got one at the other end, and Melbourne get the quick response. Dawes has got 2.
Yes.
Big pat on the back there, Brownie, to Brayshaw. Last week, his sense of the traffic around him.
Have a look at this, Dern. Look at that loose. Eric McKenzie was the loose there.
Yeah.
He was unable to influence. He needed to be behind, didn't he, Dern?
Yeah. And just see all the traffic in front of you and then come and hit the ball. But Brayshaw on that occasion, look, he's looking to offload. No, that's the wrong decision. Sense the moment and to get it deeper.
Chris Dawes with a couple of goals. Certainly battled injury over the last couple of seasons. Trying to
what a tap.
Cement his spot in this side. It was down to Viney. Melbourne with a clearance again. Butler. Back for Wellingham. He just slipped at the wrong moment. He hasn't got that agility after copying that knock earlier in the game. And Garlett caught him flat-footed.
I reckon it's fair to say, guys, Wellingham has not adjusted to the wet weather today at all. His kicking's been terrible, and just his decision-making today has been really bad.
McGovern up strong. Couldn't hang on to it. Melbourne swarming again. That forward pressure has been brilliant most of the afternoon.
Just have a look at this tap.
That's clever, isn't it?
That should be on highlight reels for every ruckman to learn from.
Brayshaw got a quick kick forward. Not 15 for Yo. Shuey, unsure where to go. Lice it. Just wants to go for distance. And it'll bounce through well for Redden, but he's got nothing forward to kick to. Just has to hold on. Back for Redden again. Then he pokes the kick short and they've turned it over. Brayshaw for Gorn, but Duggan read it well coming back the other way. Now West Coast on the counter-attack. Prittis for Gaff. Kennedy's free at half forward. Hill's going back towards goal. He goes short instead. The kick was poor for Darling though.